What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Season Gaming Bitcast, episode 226. I am your host, Ainsley Bowden, joined by the full crew who is back and ready for debate today. I can feel it coming.
Depends on your definition of ready, but yes, absolutely.
Very true. Very true. And I'm not actually even ready for debate, so I don't know why I said that. But we are here. We are ready. We have games to talk about. We have news to talk about. And we've got this amazing panel to do that with. Mr. Tie Guy Travis is back from his adventures north of the border. Little known fact, Travis's favorite country in the world is actually Canada. And we were talking just before the show about how he may move up there. So we may have to adjust the show for his future residence.
He's a real naturalist.
Yeah.
McClunky. And no, Canada is the hellscape. I will never return if I can help it. Glad to be back.
I love Canada.
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Here's an anecdote about Canada that I think we can all get behind about why it's terrible. Just one of many examples. Well, actually, I'll give you two examples. The first one is in the first 15 minutes I was in Canada, I met more adult men who believe in ghosts than I have ever met in the United States in my entire life. And they offered this information to me, by the way. They just brought it up like, oh, let me tell you about all my ghosts I've met. And I was like, all right.
Did you mention them in your review of the Ghostbusters game?
No, I didn't bring in ghosts at all. They offered this information up freely and out of nowhere. And I was just like, dude, I need to get out of here. And then I was looking forward to after the wedding, they were going to take us bowling. And we went to the bowling alley. And I was like, finally, some good old bowling. I get there. The balls are this big. They do not have holes in them. There's only 5 pins that are super far apart, and you throw the ball 3 times. And I was like, I'm out. I need to get out of this country. This is the worst place I've ever been. So anyway,
and the pins were flat on both the sides, right? Top and bottom.
I don't remember. I think I blacked that night out. I really did not enjoy my time there. Anyway, it wasn't worth the money to go to the wedding, and I'm sad. But anyway, I'm back, and it's great. And I'm reviewing games, and it's good. Things are normal. So
wait, you're reviewing a game and it's good? That doesn't sound right.
I'm reviewing games and reviewing is good. I didn't say the
game
was
things.
Good. Yeah, separate. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, fair enough. As always, Mr. Hoaglaw in the house. Lawyers and Dragons yesterday. How'd it go, my friend?
Oh, Lawyers and Dragons was just the first part of an epic internet odyssey for me yesterday. Lawyers and Dragons went very well. I did end in a perilous state. We won't spoil anything, but we'll see how it goes for my character in Lawyers and Dragons. And then I was able to participate in one of the coolest things ever, which is that my buddy, fellow lawyer on YouTube, Ian Runkle of Runkle of the Bailey, and fellow video game fan, if we ever want to have a guest, I'm sure he would love to come on. Although he would tell us it's freaking early in the Mountain Time Zone. He was raising money for charity. It was Extra Life Day yesterday.
Yes.
And so I helped. I kept him awake, I think. I kept conversations going for what ultimately was 2 sessions of like another 7 or 8 hours. And finishing up at 2 a.m. is when we actually ended last night. But then we post-showed and talked for a little bit more. Sure. And so even with falling back for the end of daylight savings, I'm still waking up. We still got some caffeine here because I'm gonna need it. But Mr. Runkle raised $50,000 for Children's Hospital and was at like the 4th or 5th ranked in the world when we ended the 24-hour Extra live stream. So that always feels good, folks. And his link is still available if you want to donate to that. He is an awesome guy. And you can check out all 24 hours of him slowly going crazy from lack of sleep on his channel. So don't mean to pitch other people's channels, but he's a great guy. It was a great cause, and it was a lot of fun.
No, it's amazing. I saw that they were over 50,000. I couldn't believe it. A lot of good work yesterday. It's kind of sad I couldn't partake this year. I have the past couple years. But yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Well, if you wind up doing it again, I will bounce between channels because I like to be helpful to wake people up.
Yeah, I was hoping it was last night, as you said, on the 5th, and the big update to Halo is Tuesday, the 8th. I was hoping to do a big custom Halo game night, but the plans I have require what's coming on Tuesday. So we may do a night here in the next couple weeks and kind of get some people together. But yeah, good times. That's awesome. All right, Mr. Rodriguez, rocking the Gaming Dino shirt this morning. Good morning, brother.
What's up? See, this makes sense now because I was like, where is Hogue on Twitter when Michigan is playing? I only got like 2 tweets.
Yeah.
I was literally watching that game between the 2 sessions
you had to
being
be
on with Ian, but I was
Yeah.
recuperating.
Yeah, I have no doubt. It was, especially after that first half, and then all of a sudden something that, it was crazy. It was crazy, but it was good. Good for your
I don't
blue.
follow college football. I am proud to say I know more about football than Travis does, but I don't think that's really much.
No.
My Michigan Wolverines are still undefeated, baby.
Yep.
I
That's all
heard
that
from
matters.
friends who are really into college football last night, and correct me where I'm wrong here, but Michigan could be in the top 5 rank, could be top 3.
Oh, they'll be
after this
top
week?
3. It's almost
Yeah, for
certainly
sure.
Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan.
Yes,
But
Okay.
I mean, it doesn't really matter because Michigan plays Ohio State at the end of the year, so it does.
Yeah.
None of that matters.
yeah.
Oh.
Let's all
I
just celebrate
just-
that Alabama lost.
And that's
Well, we
why
can always
college
celebrate
football is
that.
very weird.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Alabama fans. We're
No.
going to celebrate Alabama's out of the playoffs for the first time ever. I don't know. It's a
Yes.
glorious day. Dan, thank you for that. It's a
No
holy
problem.
day.
No problem.
One of my peers in my career work is from Alabama, graduate. He's alumni, and he is a diehard Bama with a big sign behind him on every meeting we have and talks about them all the time. So I'm sure that my other peers who are Ohio State, Michigan, few others will be. It'll be some interesting conversations this week.
Oh, it was a glorious day. No, heck, Ohio State darn near lost. I mean, it was a glorious day.
Okay. All right.
For
Google
sure.
man says, "Is this about baseball?"
Yeah.
And the Astros apparently won the World Series. I
They
don't follow
did.
that either, but they won last night. So there you go.
Yeah. Punch me in my face. Gosh, I hate those guys.
I'm with you, Gecko.
Sorry, Houston fans. I can't get over the cheating scandal. I'm never going
No.
to be over it. So tough. I really wanted Philly to win, and they lost 2 championships in one day yesterday. They lost
Wait,
the
Philly
MLS.
lost 2 in one day?
They lost the MLS.
Oh, well, then I'm a
in
happy
the
man.
shootout. They lost the World Series. So now it's just the Eagles, and I'm rooting for them because Jason Kelsey's amazing.
If you say
And,
you're rooting for the Eagles and you're not
yeah.
from Philly, it means you've never been to Philly.
Well, that may
Aren't
be
they
true.
undefeated?
Yeah, they're undefeated. Yeah, they're amazing.
I mean, one of those wins
I'm
against
mostly
the
rooting
Lions.
for one of the Kelsey brothers. That's all I'm doing. They got a new podcast called New Heights. You should check it out. It's amazing if you're a football.
No.
I love
I'm
that
good.
my presence here can get. We can keep Travis silent for like 5-6 minutes. I'm just gonna move
All right.
between sports. We're gonna hit the NBA and the NHL next. It's gonna be great.
Let's
I'm
go,
down
yeah.
for NHL talk, but yeah, let's
Okay.
not bore everyone.
Mm.
So anyway, good morning, everyone. Good to see you here with us, or good afternoon if you're over in Europe talking about the Premier League. I think something happened with Arsenal this morning. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, before we get started, we do have a question that our good friend Sardinisms posed to me last week, but I said I wanted to hold it for this week when Travis was back because I figured he would have some commentary on it too. And I think it's actually a pretty good question because it's kind of true. And what she asked was, whenever mobile games come up, it's always a separate, more casual, lesser category as compared to PC or console games. To be fair, there's a lot of Candy Crush clones. Candy Crush clones out there and a lot of gacha games where, you get the best characters, AFK win, etc. But there are also some really good mobile games. Genshin Impact is on mobile as well as the creator's previous game. There's a mobile Octopath Traveler, which uses the same combat system with a minimalized UI. Turn-based mobile installment of Touhou Project series. I don't know what that is. Not to mention classic games getting ported to mobile and sold as the full game. So is the impression of mobile games among non-mobile gamers fair? Is there still a real distinction between them in form, or is it more in market, or should there be no distinction at all? Thought that was a good question.
I'll give you a quick my impression of this. The reason I don't mobile game and the difference between the two are a giant TV, convenience, comfort, controls. I'm just not, why would I play on the small, like if for something like Genshin Impact, I can play it on the PS5. Octopath Traveler, I can play on the PS5. Call of Duty Mobile is huge. PUBG Mobile is huge.
PUBG Mobile is huge.
Yeah, gigantic. So these games, are huge. So if you want to play on that, and use your little controls or a controller Bluetooth to it or whatever you want to do, that's fine. I say for me anyway, it's more of, why would I play any of these games here that, that I can play on my big screen? That's kind of always how I've been. I'm just not really a mobile gamer. I think that the games are fine, especially these ones that are kind of making that transition, between the two. That's fine. If you want to take it on, it all depends on the person, really. It's all kind of subjective to what you prefer to play on, and as far as I'm going, I don't know how much more they are monetized, how many more microtransactions are in something that are, it's probably pretty similar, I would guess. I don't play Call of Duty, so I would guess Call of Duty Mobile and your regular Call of Duty would have probably similar amounts of microtransactions, but I don't know. I think it's a fair, you can really make that distinction just physically, just between what you're playing and stuff. So that's all I got.
I would only offer that I think it's important to kind of reject one of the conceits there in the question, which is that gamers, plastic box gamers, console gamers, PC gamers are not mobile gamers. I suspect the overlap between people that actually play on console and whatnot, and occasionally, at minimum, play something on their phone is universal. I don't know anybody that doesn't play something occasionally. I'm currently playing Marvel Snap. Yeah, we could talk about Marvel Snap, Travis. Marvel Snap is excellent, folks. I'm currently playing Marvel Snap, but I also have that Octopath Traveler game, and it's a matter of patterns, right? Like I can sit down and be ready to play a JRPG in front of my TV, and it can be a long game. I'm playing through the Trails of Cold Steel series, which is awesome, by the way. And you sit down and you get ready for an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending. I know that doesn't seem like a long time to like really hardcore gamers. In my life, if I get 2 hours to do that, it feels like 6 years. But Octopath Travel, I don't think works as well on the mobile, and so I think you get those interactions between. As Dan said, I got a TV, I got a couch, I got a controller, and now this is compromised in some at least minor way of not enjoying the controls or the screen size or anything else. Or if you're me, do I have a battery ready? This is my work phone. We gotta not drain. How much battery does Marvel Snap take? Okay, we got to plan this out a little bit.
I would agree, Travis. It's funny. I saw you pull up Marvel Snap because the guy who reviewed that for us really enjoyed it, and he gave it a really good review.
Are we gonna play right now? Are we gonna have a second where we all play a 3-minute game of Marvel Snap quietly?
You guys.
No.
Love you, Adam. Marvel Snap. What's going on?
I had to block that account on Twitter this week.
All right,
it was all over the place.
Snap. We're gonna play Marvel Snap just for a couple minutes as a segment.
Can you PvP? Can I challenge you, Hogue? Or
that's coming this fall, Travis. We could just have a daily game.
This is fall.
Daily game of Marvel Snap.
What are you doing?
Sardinism.
I think what you did?
I know.
My discarding deck. My discarding deck is pretty OP. Hogue.
All right. You know what? First of all, I'm ready to go, Travis. I got a pretty good deck myself.
What's your deck? What's your strat? What are you doing, huh? You moving? Are you moving cards from lane to lane? Huh?
Oh no, I have a destroy all worlds deck.
Oh, destroy. Okay, I got you. Hey, I got a destruction deck. You gotta pull out that carnage. Okay, you gotta pull out that.
I think this segment proves that you can have fun with mobile games first.
Marvel Snap. Okay, so just to be clear, yes, Marvel Snap is a special game. And like you'll know that as soon as you play it. But it's the point. Yeah, I think it defeats the point, which is that Travis and I obviously focus on more whatever hardcore games. It's a silly term, but you can present, if you take account of the format and the function and everything else, a fantastic mobile game. But it's a different experience in a console game, and so I think it's lesser because there generally isn't a lot of hobbyist articles you're going to write about Marvel Snap or its lore or anything like that when you can dive deeper into the stuff that's on consoles or PC.
No, I agree. That's kind of where I was going is the experiences have never been as fulfilling to me. And to Dan's point, I'm in the same boat where if I'm at home, I'm not playing on my phone or I don't even play on my Steam Deck at home. If I'm traveling, the only time, I really have time to play anything would be either sitting on the plane or sitting on the plane pretty much. And then I'm playing on my Steam Deck, which is pretty much a much superior, I would argue, kind of experience, depending on the game maybe, but from a control perspective, screen perspective to my phone. So I just don't find a lot of opportunity to play mobile games personally, but that's just me. I mean, it goes without saying, anyone watching this show, I'm sure knows that the mobile market in terms of gaming revenue is dominant over all forms combined, all other forms combined. I want to say it's approaching 100 billion annually, which is the total gaming market is about 165 billion annually, I believe, in 2022 is the estimate. So something like that. I think it's about 2/3 of the total gaming market. So it goes without saying, you know, us who are saying we don't game on mobile, we're certainly not the market here. But I think the conversation between it, having a distinction between the lesser form, is still valid to some degree, but maybe not as valid as it used to be, if that makes sense. I think mobile gaming's come a long way.
Yeah, if I can offer a differing opinion, I don't think there should be any distinguishing between the two. I think games are games. I think obviously the platform is different, just as you know, VR is a completely different platform from console gaming, and I think that the market is probably different. But I love mobile games, and there's lots of people that I work with at IGN who are like kind of mobile first gamers. Like I know Max Scoville like is always playing like 2 or 3 mobile games at a time, and I'm just like, damn, this guy like hella likes mobile games. The thing I love about mobile games is that it's so super accessible. It's the most accessible platform, which is why there's so many people that play it. And it's a gateway, right? Like when I want to get people into games, sometimes I'll just be like, oh, you know what you should do? You should play Phoenix Wright on your phone because you can do that, right? Ace Attorney is totally on your phone, all the games. And then people play them there. It's convenient. You don't have to go and buy a console and hook it up to a wall and do all the stuff that you have to do to get the console. And then eventually, you know, I can sort of convince them that they're gamers and then get them to play. And I think that it's important to the industry to keep the mobile games alive and to not think of them as sort of like, you know, not important to our industry, to get people to adopt, you know, people into the space. But that said, they are different in terms of, you know, one is obviously a premium experience. One of them requires an investment and has a different input and that sort of thing. And so they are separate in that way. I would argue probably not any separate than VR, which, by the way, VR is also becoming a gateway because it's another device that can often use your phone depending on the device you're using. And a lot of people are more interested in buying a VR device just because it's so weird. And then sometimes they get into gaming that way. So I'm really like these kind of peripheral devices. And I think that there are experiences on the phone you really can't get elsewhere. There are mobile games I know that I played that were sort of like, you know, life-changing, like game-changing games. And I think the people who are smart and figure out how to use that device and how to reach people are awesome. I mean, what's that? What was that one game that blew up everybody's lives a couple years ago? It was like
Pokemon Go.
I was gonna say Pokemon Go.
That one too. That one's amazing. But I was thinking of a different. I can't remember the name right now. It'll come to me. But yeah, I really like mobile games, and I think core gamers, if we're going to call them that, or people that play on console or PC, should probably. I would encourage. What's that?
I like hobbyists.
Hobbyists, sure. I would encourage those people to maybe be a little bit more appreciative of mobile games. I think they do get a bad rap, and I think the reason that they're so heavily monetized is because it is a less premium experience, and you don't have to deal with a lot of the barriers of entry when it comes to paying money to get your console set up and get an Xbox Live or PlayStation subscription and, you know, buy the software. And so of course there are monetization issues with that. And I think that's sort of part of the beauty of the platform is that the barriers are gone, and you know, obviously some of that stuff exists, but I don't think it lessens the platform. And I like mobile games.
Hey, Ains, can we pull up Gecko Gamers super chat? Because this was the point I was going to make anyway. Right now, is that
so? Which one? He has multiple.
The board game one.
Okay, got it. Yep, got it.
So we now only need to talk about tabletop and board games, and we talked about every other type of games.
So Gecko, while Travis was giving his answer, which I'm going to say I partly agree with and I partly disagree with, I was thinking of board games, right? Because games are games. Is you can also say, okay, Battleship and Eldritch Horror. Games, things you bring to the table, but obviously fundamentally different experiences. And there's a lot of people I would be willing to bet that all of us know. They're like, okay, you want to play a board game? Absolutely. Monopoly, Life, Battleship, maybe Catan, maybe. And like that's as far as they get. Are they board gamers? Yes, maybe. But I think we can understand that that's a distinction between you know, I look at my shelves and my wife may divorce me if one of the walls comes down from the weight of board games that I have in various places around the house. And we're going to make a chair out of some. And like that's distinct. So I think when we have the conversation about mobile games and video games, everybody can intuitively understand that the person that just plays Candy Crush all day, fantastic, go nuts, king, is a different kind of engagement with the concept of a video game than in general what we're talking about here, right? And I think that we don't have to set up a barrier to that. And I love Travis's story about that being essentially a gateway to grander experiences. But when we talk about this, and everyone says, well, everybody's a gamer. 85% of people are gamers. It's like, okay, we have to start using words to better understand what we're talking about, because that's the way that you actually persuade or talk about what the market is doing. If everybody on Earth suddenly played Candy Crush all the time, or even Marvel Snap, that doesn't mean that that's a great moment in time for the growth of PlayStation or Xbox or AAA experiences. And I think distinguishing that is probably pretty useful in the conversation.
Definitely. I would say my view on it is that I would include all those people you listed as gamers. I just think they're at different places on the spectrum.
In that
I
they
want
play
them,
games.
yeah. I
That's
want them
like
to be under.
hobbyists.
Yeah, I want them to be under the gaming umbrella. It's just that there's sort of like a spectrum, and I view myself as somebody who is at obviously the very other end of it, and I want to see people get closer to me. I want to see people enjoy those experiences and get rid of some of the taboos of like, oh, well, now you're a nerd because you own too many board games, or you've played too many mobile games, or oh, you bought a console, so
That's
now
not
you're
even
really
a thing.
you're crossing the threshold. I mean, it is. I was bullied as a kid, so I remember that. I grew up with shame, Hogue. I grew up with shame about these things. So, if somebody plays checkers, I want them to play Monopoly, and then later I want them to play Catan, and then later I want them to play a tabletop RPG, and then eventually, hop on Destiny with me. I want that stuff. I know. Well, look,
why would you do that to them?
You get them up, and then you tell them to join the church, right? Like you earn their trust, and then you go, now you're a Mormon. That's what happens. So
I saw that in Midnight Mass, no?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
pretty much. That's Travis with his Destiny proceedings.
I think it's more healthy to kind of think of them all as being, they're your people. They're just at different stages in the journey.
This is what I mean. I agree with you, Bon Travis, because humans are humans. I believe that there's fun and even growth to be had through game and gaming, of board game and tabletop and video gaming varieties. And that I'm in agreement with you, Travis, where it's like, okay, well, you just have to find the way in. How are we going to talk to you and meet you where you live? I just think when we have this conversation, it always feels a little bit oddball, because it's like, yes, they're absolutely gamers. I do think you need a title for, but okay, are we actually, when we're having a conversation about topic X, Y, or Z, who are we actually talking to? Because it isn't necessarily the people that are just playing in the mobile
I think the terms that we have work. I think mobile gamers and
I hate hardcore
gamers and PC gamers. Yeah, I mean, to me, hardcore has got too loose of a definition, but when you say tabletop gamers, I know exactly what you mean. When you say PC and console gamers, I know exactly what you mean. When you say mobile gamers, I know what you mean. And there's also VR gamers. There's people who only play on VR. They're out there. That market is huge right now because of the Quest and the accessibility, and not.
Travis has been setting foundational bricks for a future conversation.
He absolutely
for like 10 solid minutes.
By the way, Hogue, I don't know if you heard this from anyone else, but Gecko, when he posted the super chat, you can see that it's €6 instead of 5, and he said that Google.
Oh my God! Did they raise the price of super chat?
They raised the price apparently. Perfect. So I told him, I said, obviously we didn't change anything here, right? So
we can't. That is not what the channels can do.
Nope. So sorry. I'll give you an extra thank
Where
you.
is that announcement? I was
just in Eurobucks. Wait, I'm
in Eurobucks.
I have no idea. It's the first I've heard of it. So
how is like an in-game currency?
Right. So thank you, Gecko, for the €6 super chat, and we will try and figure out what Google's doing, but I suspect that we may not have a clue because it's Google. So
I'll save it for tomorrow. Google currency conversions.
Yeah, let's get to the other super chats here, Dan. Starting with Rob Frawley, came right out of the gate when we started.
At
Monument
10:06.
Valley. That was the
Yes.
mobile game I was thinking of. Monument Valley.
Monument Valley. Sure. Don't no idea what you're talking about. All right.
So
Rob
when
Farley
Kevin
was
Spacey plays throughout House of Cards, and I bet Valley's people wish they did that he didn't.
I know. I think they probably did, but yeah, I mean that game. You've succeeded when your game is shown up in traditional media.
I'm pretty sure they bought that, Travis. But yes,
Probably.
it's a kind of success.
I'm so lost right now. I'm going to read the super chat. No, you're fine. $5 super chat from Rob. Morning all. I'm sure Ains has other redeeming qualities, but he made a horrible Travis impersonator last week. Glad to have the whole group back. Thank you, Rob.
Very. Yeah.
Yes.
I think you pull a piece out of this 4-piece puzzle and it kind of falls apart. You know what I mean? And I take both that as one, I agree with you. And I don't know whether to take it as an insult or a compliment or both. I think it's a little bit of both, honestly. So I am too glad to have Travis back.
Week, folks. We finished on time.
We did, yeah. So I tried to listen to it while I was on a jog, and I did notice the conversation was a little shorter. I also tried to jump in because it was in my ear, so I tried to be like, oh no, I can't talk. This is pre-recorded. So
we should try that in some other episodes.
No. Hey, you. You already mute me enough and kick me out of the.
we could just get a freeze frame screenshot of Travis in the bottom left and see how long it takes for anybody to notice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow,
we'll have a sports one where he's just asleep.
Yeah.
Don Lionheart in the house.
Yeah, with a $10 super chat. Hi, friends. Stopping by briefly, to say hi. I'm very behind in the episode again due to practicing for a country swing dance competition held yesterday. Didn't make the final, but it was a lot of fun. Have a great show. Awesome.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's
man.
fun.
For you, Don.
Yeah, that sounds like a good time, man.
I love how many different things people do that I'm just like, cool, more power to you. I mean,
Seriously. I love hearing stuff like that. It's like that would never be something that would occur in my head. So when I
want to know the distinctions between swing and country swing. I feel like there's some important things there.
That's also a good question. Don, let us know what the difference is between country swing and swing. You don't have to super chat. Just throw it in the chat. I'm curious.
I imagine bigger hats is the answer. But
could be.
Thank you very much.
Man.
Tao in the house.
Where are we at here? Tao. Wait. Dan thinks sports teams aren't cheating. Brother, if you aren't cheating, you ain't trying. As Big John says, clean sports and no cheating. LOL. Let me tell you something.
By the way, he followed up with this. He followed up.
Yes, and Big John is the famous MMA referee. Also, hello, big casters in chat. Hit that like button. So, like a total of $10 super chat. Yes. Amazing. Let me tell you something. I am a pro steroid person. I believe that they should be brought back into the MLB because that was the most exciting time for the MLB is when we had the chase for, the home run record with McGuire, Sosa, Bonds to a certain extent. It's fine. Just bring it back. It's going to be great.
Dan, for a moment, I thought we were going to get into like a really futurist-based conversation about better living through chemistry and the distinction between supplements and testosterone. And if you make yourself have Tommy John surgery, isn't that already kind of halfway down the cyborg slippery slope? Yeah. But no, just in general, I liked watching McGuire shoot him real high.
It was a good time, man. It was a good time to watch the game.
Bill Burr has a good skit about that. Actually, it's quite funny.
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm all for it. But yeah, I mean, it's fair. It's fair. I like certain cheating aspects when you're banging a drum because you call on you got somebody catching the signs. Maybe not that. Yeah.
Oh no.
Allegedly.
Dan's already that one isn't alleged.
No, I know.
The lawyer said you don't have to put a legend in front of that one.
Okay, good.
Travis is once again checking out here. We're moving on, Tal. Thank you so much.
Let's keep going.
We got Google Man again enjoys his stickers.
That's sticker. Nice. Yes.
I wish it showed the sticker on the screen.
It doesn't show it on there.
So that's StreamYard. StreamYard's working on that and a couple of other things.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Thank you, Google Man. We appreciate you. And the weird thing I just noticed is Google Man is a €5 chat.
So
I was about to comment on that.
The sticker.
They get that $1 discount for stickers,
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe they're just charging that one commenter more money. Have you, Gecko? Did you do something?
Gecko's made Google mad some way. He's using a G for his picture. I don't know.
Yep.
Thank you guys. And lastly, random name.
$4.99 super chat. Mobile gaming has its place, but it's not for me. I've tried it through apps, xCloud, Switch. I just can't get comfortable playing big for me. And it's part of another thing. It's like I've been playing since late 70s, early 80s. So it's still relatively a new thing for me. So I mean, maybe it's crudgy old man, Dan, that I can't play on this mobile. I have nothing against it. It's just something that I'm not used to. I've been doing the same thing for 40 plus years, so it's hard for me to kind of switch over.
I think people think of like experiences when they think of mobile games, like, oh, I'm going to be playing Fortnite on the phone, which could if you're crazy, but like Marvel Snap, you're never going to look at that and go, oh, if only I could play with a mouse or controller. Like some games are just designed for it. You know what I mean?
They're making a PC version of Marvel Snap, and I go,
why? Yeah, why would you ever need that? Like it's better on the phone. So I just think the phone is the superior device sometimes, and some people want to make their games there, and when you play them, you're like, yeah, this should have been a phone game. Like Phoenix Wright, to me, I almost want to play that more than I want to play it on like the Switch, because it's just like it's more convenient. You tap, you can it's just super intuitive. And
maybe that's the way you get me to play your Ace Attorney games.
You haven't played?
Yeah, that'll make it even more likely if you play it on a device you never use for gaming. I tried to get Ains into
well, I already bought it on the Switch, so we're in the same space.
Well, that one isn't on the phone yet, but they typically they make their way to mobile like a year or two after they come out. So
yeah.
You play the old ones on Switch though. And actually what's funny is they're better on mobile. Like you can play them on the new stuff, and on mobile they're like way crisper, clearer. So anyway, I like mobile. Everybody should play mobile.
Thank you, Random Man. Appreciate you. And Tao came back with one more, Dan.
All right. Steroids and illegal substances are still in sports. One doc, Dan Icarus, it's about Olympic doping. Listen, I'm not saying they're not. I'm just saying it was an exciting time. I don't know what the effects are. I've never done steroids.
Dan said he doesn't want it under the radar. He doesn't want black market steroids. He wants it loud and proud.
Just go for it. Go for it. Why not?
I did steroids last week.
Yeah, I did too. I took some prednisone because I had,
the allergy, the spray. I did that for my allergies.
It was the anabolic steroid spray.
Yeah,
I did that. It's pretty hardcore. Am I looking jacked? How do I look?
Yeah.
Travis is going to hit so many dingers.
I've been trying it on my hair. It doesn't work.
Bro.
Oh my God. All right. We're going to move on for this ridiculous conversation. But thank you guys. I appreciate you all. Sure. Thank you. Generous this morning, guys. Generous. Yep. All right. So currently playing, boys. I'm going to kick us off because I'm sure this one will go by quickly. Playing a lot of PGA 2K23, believe it or not. Playing a golf game. For some reason, ever since I was younger on the 16-bit days with the old EA Sports PGA games, which were classics, I've always just liked golf games. They're one of those games that you can play and really turn your brain off and just kind of veg out with. So picked up PGA, had a lot of fun. It's really good.
I need a new Hot
Me
Shots.
too. Hot Shots is my favorite golf game. No joke. Love it.
I do love Hot Shots too.
But it's really good, and it's got all kinds of courses and features and options. And I then played last night with 3 friends in a multiplayer match on a random course, and it was literally some of the funniest times I've had multiplayer gaming in a long time, just laughing at each other's shots and screw ups basically. But if you enjoy those types of games, definitely check it out. It's a good one for sure.
I'm like literally looking it up right now to download it. I totally forgot it came out, man.
Yeah, it's quite good. And then I'm going to sound like Travis, but my other time outside of Halo and the usual stuff has been spent playing a game I can't talk about yet. So stay tuned. But it is a game that is people are going to be interested in coming out here in a little while. And
I know what game it is. You're not even allowed to mention what game it is.
Not even allowed. Nope.
It's fun.
So
hey, how's the microtransaction hell on PGA Tour? Is it bad or is it like really necessary?
Believe it or not, this is a PGA Tour golf game. It has a battle pass. So it does have a customization pass. But
2K, right? I assume it has the gold points that you use to get stat upgrades and things.
Yeah.
So it has because I'm not familiar. I don't play the other 2K games, so I can't compare.
Virtual
it has. No, well, it has virtual coins, yeah. So you earn currency in the game where you can buy clothing options for, and they're fine.
It's not for your attributes, though.
No, you do have skill points in this game, which is a first, I think, for a golf game, but you don't pay. They have nothing to do with currency. You just get skill points as you level up. And it's a little deeper of a golf experience. Like you can customize your guy and his shots more than previous games. And then the battle passes.
Is there a legal system portion of the game where you have the PGA fighting the Saudi Arabians?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Because I'd be in on that.
It's part of it. It's called a battle pass for a reason.
Oh,
battle.
legal battle.
Yeah, it's a legal battle.
You have a live. You can have a live pass or a PGA pass. You can vote.
Here's a pro tip, Ains. Save up all of your money in the game and buy just a green jacket, and then everyone will fear you. That's my suggestion.
Fair.
Yeah.
Funny enough, you joke about that. That's the Masters, obviously, if you follow golf. The Masters is not in this game because EA licensed the Masters exclusively for their golf game that's coming next year.
Fantastic. So it's an off-brand green jacket, no affiliation.
It's like a lighter green.
Yeah.
the patch is on the other lapel.
Yeah.
If I know how these games
still
work,
scary though.
They'll have a tournament in whenever the spring that's called the experts, and they'll have some version of it in Georgia.
Yeah, but no. Anyway, if you like those types of games, it's got Top Golf. I was telling Dan before we started, you can literally play the Top Golf arena in the game with friends. It's got multiplayer modes. It's got Tiger Woods. It's got Michael Jordan. Yeah, there's.
Does they have John Daly in like a big whiskey bottle?
Wow.
Can you give Michael Jordan his mustache?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Let's look into that, folks.
Okay.
I'm asking
I'll do some research for you.
Can you bet on each shot while you're playing it to get the real Jordan experience where you're throwing down 10 grand on a putt?
Is there a story mode?
Yeah.
No.
Unfortunately,
that's
not
surprising.
Story. Like you play your career where you can go from minors to.
But after all the writing in 2K3 NBA edition, I tell you, there's just some gems in there.
Can you play? Rob says, can you play PGA without spending anything outside the retail price and enjoy? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not spending any real money on the game. Yeah, no.
Like you can't buy clubs that have better stats.
No.
Okay.
No. They have clubs that you can earn. They have, like I said, the battle pass is all cosmetics. Like you get weird stuff, and it's I don't know how much it is. I didn't even look because I don't care. But no, everything in the game is just part of the game. It's not.
I want different announcers. Yeah. Is the battle pass? I want the Halo announcer to announce my putts.
That would be cool. By the way, I was playing Call of Duty with some friends the other day, and they were
Birdie.
Like, this game needs the Halo announcer, and I was like, every game needs the Halo announcer. Every game.
Double bogey.
Double bogey.
Hey, Sex Find is here. What's up?
Yes.
Been a long time.
Right.
We must be trending. Is this your new
That's it.
Site, Travis?
By the way, thanks to you, like I had a tab open at work that was Twitter, and I was in our DM chat that you had named after these people, and the tab was open when I shared my screen for something else, and I was like, what the heck is that? And I was like, oh boy. That's because my Twitter group likes to name things inappropriate stuff. It's very awkward. So thanks for that.
Yeah. You're welcome.
That's what happens with my Signal groups. I get the alert on the front of my phone. It's like, what is that called? Oh, forget it.
All right, guys. What else you been playing?
What have I been playing?
I've been playing Sonic Frontiers.
Can
you can mention it? No, that's good.
I can mention it. I can mention that I finished the review a while ago, and it's going live on tomorrow morning at like 6 a.m. or something like that. So
yeah, okay.
I can't talk about specifics, but I have been playing that. I've got a review. Like that's all I can say. Damn it. And then yeah, I've also been playing Call of Duty. Been working my way through that campaign, through a fair bit through that. It's
working your way through that campaign. I was under the impression it was relatively short.
It probably is. For me, it takes a while for me to get through games that I'm not reviewing these days. So
sure.
I'm excited to have some free time to maybe do that. But yeah, what else am I playing? What else has come out recently? I'm playing some stuff. Anyway, those are the main two. right now.
We had a review go up this week for a game called The Entropy Center, which was a game that was shown. I think I mentioned it briefly last week, but it was shown during Summer Game Fest or Xbox's event this summer. That looks like Portal. So our review for that went up this week. I think it got a pretty solid review, pretty solid kind of meta scores, if you will. So if you enjoyed Portal and you want to dabble in that space, that's a game you may want to check out, The Entropy Center.
I also forgot to mention, I got to go to Koei Tecmo's headquarters this past week, and I played the post beta build for Wolong. So they actually made some. I can talk about this because the embargo's up. My article isn't live yet because they gave us like 2 days to meet embargo. But yeah, so they changed that game a lot since the beta. Ains, I think you played it, right? You're a fan of that.
I did, yeah.
I was very surprised that in the 2 months since the beta, it's actually a little less than 2 months, they responded to a ton of feedback from the community and made the changes already. So the build that I played was like pretty drastically different. It had a totally different healing animation. The previous healing animation took like 5 seconds or something. It was like super long and would get you killed during the boss fight. And they also made it a lot easier to parry. And they did a whole bunch of other stuff like that. The fighting felt faster. And so my preview should be up sometime early next week. But the headline is that like that game has changed a lot since the beta, which is really surprising to me since it's been less than 2 months. And it was pretty reassuring.
That's awesome. I wonder if the beta was maybe a couple-month-old build, so it's been, 4
possibly,
months
but
of dev, maybe.
Yeah, I got to talk to the creative director and the community manager who were sitting on the couch with me when I was playing it, and they said like, oh yeah, like most of the changes in this build came straight from feedback from the beta, which is really cool.
Awesome.
So they implemented it super fast. It's Team Ninja, so they got a lot of accolades on this sort of stuff. And they it was just really, really cool. The section I played was like a really small area, but it was like multiple ways to approach it. Like there was a stealth approach where you go through the roof, and like a straight up, let's just fight everything where you go through like the front gate. And I tried both ways with different classes and stuff. And then fought a giant boar at the end. Also, they added spears to the sandbox. So I was spearing a boar, which felt very appropriate. So yeah.
By the way, you just said roof like you were from the Midwest, and that threw me off for a second.
I say roof. I've some people in California say I don't even remember how they say it.
Roof.
How do they say it? Roof. Yeah, and to me that sounds like a dog noise. I don't know. I say roof.
Yeah, the way you said it just caught my board because when I
roof is the one that sounds like a dog noise.
I was
not
a little
roof.
confused.
Because it's got the ooh noise.
Travis position.
It's got the ooh noise to me. I don't know.
When I moved to the Midwest and I heard people saying roof, or excuse me, they would say roof, or if you really go out there, they say roof, like almost like a rough.
That sounds like a dog to me. Roof. I don't do that. I say roof. I don't know. Sounds right to me.
He's like, I don't sound like a dog. I just say roof.
It's all good.
Is it? Well, I mean, are you guys on what is it? Roof side? Are you guys on roof side?
The two always make a yes. Yeah, roof.
It's an ooh.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. How the language works. It's good.
It's nice to hear game companies adjusting that quickly. I think I've been noticing that more and more often, so that's fun.
As you know, Ains, English does not follow rules.
Yes, very. My wife is from Amish country, PA, where they say crick instead of creek, and it drives me bonkers.
I can't say
and
that.
What do they say?
I'm like,
crick.
It's 2 E's.
Crick.
It's not crick.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
I say words that people call me out for. Like I say raccoon, and people really don't like the way I say that. And I'm like, I don't know. That's just the way I say
You put the emphasis on that syllable, eh?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. For me, raccoon sounds like. I also say sloth. People really don't like it when I call them.
No,
I call the animal sloth.
Stop it. Now you're getting close to being muted at this point.
Like, no, it's
isn't that how they say it in English?
I learned about animals from David Attenborough, and he says sloth. Yeah. And so I use the word sloth to describe the animal, and I use the word sloth to describe the vice. They have a separation.
Right. I've heard Ricky Gervais say sloth before. That's how he pronounced it.
Well, being English, and I honestly, genuinely don't think I've heard that before. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I say
don't put like an R in wash. That's what drives me crazy.
Oh yeah, that one hurts me. Yeah, I bet people say that. Wash. Warsh is rough.
Yeah, if you've never heard that over here, when I first moved to the Midwest and I had the guy installing our washing machine in the old house, he's called it a washing machine. And I was like, what the hell is a washing machine?
It sounds like a sci-fi from like the Silver Age, like dime store sci-fi.
Oh, Fat Boy Horror's in the chat. Help us out, Fat Boy. Do the British say sloth? Because I have not heard that before, unless I'm losing my mind. He'll know.
I have different pronunciations for the vice versus the animal. I don't know.
Strange.
And so ends our sequence on American and global dialect. Thank you for joining us today.
We got sports, we got dialect, we have it all today.
Everything, man.
Ho, you been playing anything good, man?
So I have been playing a bunch of Marvel Snap. I've been working real hard. So Marvel Snap, like mobile games very often, is very nice to be like, oh God, my brain is going to explode if I look at page 71 of this agreement. Take 3 minutes, play Marvel Snap, refresh, come back.
We'll rank you at. Let's talk comp. What you doing, man? How you living, boy? What's up?
I'm probably not living as high as you, Travis.
I mean,
what the heck is my rank? 35, something like that.
35, silver rank. Yeah, no, you Gucci.
By the way, Game Positive in the chat right now. That is who reviewed Marvel Snap for us. So.
Yeah, so I really like Marvel Snap. I've just started playing Harvestella. As I mentioned, that game basically just came out. Yesterday was not a day for game playing for me, so we're very early on in that.
We'll talk next week.
I don't know exactly why Square Enix didn't send out review copies. I do think it's part of their kind of mid-tier resource spend grouping. And I think they feel that, I would guess, reflects more negatively on a lot of the review set that really goes for flash and polish for things like, I don't know, Ragnarok. And so they don't like to send out the review copies. It's fine. It's held back by the Switch in terms of performance. I guess we're just used to that now. And it's got a Square Enix-y story. It's very funny. If you're used to playing all of these farming games, and if you're at Hogue House, you definitely are. Some of them have stories. Most of them are very lightly kind of touched. Even Rune Factory, that kind of fashions itself as being the story one. This is clearly Square Enix being like, oh, okay, we're doing a farming game now. How about aliens? Maybe some time travel? What are you into? Crystals? We got crystals. You like blue crystals?
It's one of those, huh? Okay.
Yeah, so it is fully in like the Square Enix. It's a Final Fantasy type game with farming as the main economic kind of component.
Yeah.
Farming.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
All
but
right.
seems like it does what it says on the tin. I cannot give honestly any kind of fulsome level of impressions on it. I've played it for 2
we'll
hours.
talk more about it maybe next
Farming?
week. But
Really?
I know you were looking forward to that
Man
one.
of your
so.
talents.
I love Harvestella. And yes.
By the way, I don't want to
Star
continue
Wars.
on this, but this is just funny. So we have multiple people from the UK, different parts of the UK in chat, and they can't agree how sloth is pronounced.
There you go, guys.
So one of
There
them
you go.
says sloth, one of them says sloth, and Timmy
One of them
says it
says
depends
sloth.
on where in England you are.
Aren't there
So
like
think so.
154 dialects in the United Kingdom? Like, aren't there? Is it just like a ridiculous number of pronunciations?
Yeah, there you go.
I tell people all the time that, most people obviously go to southern England, which is where London is. But if you work your way north, especially if you go up to where, Scotland, you're not going to be able to understand what people are saying. You just
There you
won't.
go.
Well, there's the one YouTube video of the guy that does the impressions. I like it. He does like 84 British dialects, and like you can still like hear that. Oh, I guess those are different because you're just kind of used to, you watch Downton Abbey or something. It's like, well, they're technically all speaking kind of different British, but it's just British to us Americans.
And America also has like 100 different dialects that we just refuse to recognize. And I think, it's almost like English isn't a living language that, there's a lot of different ways to do it, depending on where you're at, who you're talking to.
I appreciate your philosophy lessons, Travis.
I also say 20. People do not like that when I say 20.
What do you
How
say?
else would you say it?
20?
Yeah.
A lot of people in
20?
America
20?
say 20. They just don't
20.
have the other
20.
T. I pronounce 20.
Like you're a posh robber baron from the 30s?
No, I like if I don't say it that like, I was obviously slowing it down for you guys, but when I talk, I say
Posh
20.
Robert Barry.
People go. What year is it? It's 2022. People
Oh
go,
my!
"What are you
Oh,
saying?"
that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that is very
exactly.
that is a lot of emphasis.
See, that's the reaction
Right.
I get. It's just
That is
how
a
the way
lot
I
of
speak.
emphasis. 2022. My goodness.
2022. That's just how I pronounce it. I'm sorry. man.
As he tightens his tie.
Yeah. Yep.
Is that fancy? I just am saying the
Back
word.
to
I
the
don't know what to tell
mines,
you.
orphans. It's 2022.
It's 2022.
Now go
Oh,
scrub
man.
the floors.
Uh,
All right. So we will obviously talk more about it next week, but at tail end of our kind of currently playing, even though it's not currently playing, but reviews are
Well,
out. For God of War.
before we go to
Oh,
God
sorry,
of
Dan.
War,
Whoa,
I got
yeah, go
one
ahead.
game. I've been playing
Go ahead.
Hitman 3, just to let everybody know.
oh boy.
Hold on, wait a minute. Everybody
Oh, here
pump
it
the
comes.
brakes. I've been playing
Can we talk about
Freelancer.
sports again?
You got that?
Oh,
I've
you
been
got to
playing
talk about the new mode.
mode.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not
We
the
got the new mode.
Come on, guys.
Let's go. Let's go.
All
Hit
right.
us. Hit us.
New mode. It's different. I have to change everything I've ever learned about playing Hitman, and I like it. It's good. It's a
Hey!
roguelike. It's fine. You just have to kind of change everything. It's obviously, it has some balancing issues for sure, but
What's beta,
I've
right?
played
Or like
about
early
6 of-
access or something right now?
Yeah, there's a technical alpha out for a
Okay.
few more days. I've been playing. I
So
probably
is
put in
this a
about 10
separate
hours.
game? Is it a free to play
So it's you can
mode
it's,
within the game? Like what is it?
So it's going to come out in January for anybody that owns a Hitman 3. It's a completely different way to play. Basically, it's basically a roguelike. You start off in a safe house. You get a safe house. That's the big new thing. All of your gear is there. You only start off with one pistol, and that's it. Anything you go on a mission, say you go on a mission, anything you bring back with you will, you can keep. If you die on the mission, you lose anything that you took with you. There is a new currency that you do through earning different kinds of different assassinations. Throwing a baseball bat at somebody's head might get you $10 or something. It's all really weird and kind of not
Real
really
life.
balanced right now. It's just kind of random. You play it in there's 4 or 5 different sections. You play like 2 little assassination missions, and you take on like a mini boss, and then you do 3 assassination missions, take on a mini boss, and 4, and then 5.
What does a boss look like in Hitman?
It's the same thing. It's basically like so let's say you play your first 2, you have like 2 targets, and you can choose of like the 3 different areas you want to go to. The mini bosses, you go into this area, and it's 4 different suspects. They give you, okay, he's a smoker, he's bald, or got blonde hair, has glasses. All right, now there's 4 different people out there that match, that possibly match that, and then they have tells. Okay, this person is dehydrated, so he might be drinking a lot. This person is a bookworm, so they might be reading. So you have to actually go find that one person out of the 4, and as you go on, it might be 9 people. So you've got tons and tons of suspects. Once you get up to the higher levels, it's really nerve-wracking because it's not like for me, I'm really used to, I have every map, laid out in my head. I know how to do everything basically. So now it's just completely changing that because, they're pretty randomized. I'm not sure that they're procedurally generated yet because I haven't gotten far enough. So it's kind of hard to tell. But it potentially could lead to a very long extension of the game afterwards.
Okay.
So I see what they're doing, and some people I've seen, don't like it. Some people really like it. Normally, I'm the old man that likes to keep his stuff all the same. This is actually pretty fun so far.
That is
I
such
think
a good sign for them, Dan. If you're okay with it,
yeah,
that is such a good sign for them because it sounds to me like a Moon Crash. Like that's one of my favorite additions ever, and it takes one of my favorite things, which is all right. We got these assets, we've got this capability. What can we do with it to extend something and make a new experience out of it?
Yeah.
To me, Dan, honestly, that's what you just described. Sounds like I would play it.
Yeah.
And I haven't played Hitman in a while.
It's actually, they've done a really good job with it, and it's again balancing, trying to get some of the, I think, how much everything costs. Like during a mission, you can find a courier, and a courier will have just like money or something else on them, and you can take them out, obviously, and then you can, there's also a guy that sells stuff, kind of like a black market guy might be standing in the corner. You can go, that's where you get most of your purchasing stuff, lockpick, crowbar, whatever he has, guns. It's just really, really different because you're so used to having the equipment that you need, and then now you have nothing. So it's a learning curve for sure. but it's been fun. I played about, I think, 7 or 8 hours of it so far.
7 or 8 hours.
Nice.
I mean,
Awesome.
I
This
bet
is what
you
I do.
IOI has Dan's account on monitoring. Like,
I mean,
they
no,
have the traces on what he does to see if
No,
he's
no.
enjoying it.
There are a lot more. There's guys out there that have played way more than what I have. So
I'm glad
I
you
don't
got
get-
in, Dan.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
on a
no, that's
PC
good, Dan.
too.
That's
So
good.
that's the problem. I got to get my PC back from my kids just to play it for a little bit, a couple hours a day. Is what it is,
Cool,
but
though.
it's fun. Yeah, I think they're onto something. So
And it comes out officially, did they say first quarter?
26th of January, I think.
Late
For
January.
for
Okay.
for
cool.
everything. And anybody who owns Hitman, it's free. You don't actually you can get into the technical tests if if they'll probably do another one. You don't have to own Hitman 3 anywhere or on Steam or whatever it is. It's a separate download, completely separate game. So
Okay. Cool. Cool.
That sounds compelling.
it's actually
No,
pretty good.
it actually sounds really cool. Yeah. And if it's coming late January, that's usually a pretty good time for an experience like that. We can see, depending on what's around. That's right when Dead Space
I
launches.
was gonna say, maybe not in 2023. January and February looks like a freaking war zone.
February is absurd. Yeah. By the way, a whole gravy and curry chat a war has started in chat,
Gravy
which
and
I love.
Curry.
What? I mean,
Don't
that's
worry
not
about it.
even- That's not
Don't
even
worry about it.
close.
Chips
Gravy.
and gravy.
All right.
Gecko
On the God of
Gamer is-
War.
Yes, on the God of War. I'm going to get Gecko real quick.
Good.
By the way, he did say in the chat that he tried to do a super sticker like Google Man did, and it is €6, not 5. So it must be a region-specific thing that Google is doing. I don't know why,
weird.
but yeah, there you go.
Hello and welcome to the Seasoned Everything podcast.
Pretty much.
Yes, that's sounds like my kids.
Gecko, thank you, man. Always a generous. Appreciate you.
back.
And yes, we are covering a lot today.
I'm back.
But God of War's. Oh my God! Now the chat.
I'm here. What's happening?
Sex Chat
Find your love,
69
guys.
side.
Find your love. God of War reviews are in, and the four of us had a little question prior to the launch of the reviews, asking what we thought the meta was going to be here. Dan, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you said 89, 88,
Yeah,
something like that.
that.
Travis said 90 on the nose. I said 91, and I think Hogue was probably closest at 104.
I did say 104.
You did say 104.
104.
That was the official guess.
I
We didn't have money on it.
I believe I had a snotty comment with it too. It's like, well, what
Yeah,
what can reviewers give it? 104.
Amazing.
I think obviously we'll talk more about it next week, and once we start to get our hands on it and stuff. I think what's interesting here, the big thing I was concerned about, and I think based on commentary, Travis and Hogue, that you've both spoke about in terms of the writing and the story of the first game before. The thing I found most interesting based on what I've read so far, and I'm really dark on the game, so I'm trying not to read, like I haven't even watched the latest trailer or anything. But one of the things that's jumping out, and I think why the score seems to be very high, like the first one, was that they said, sorry, I'm not getting to my point. Several people I saw comment that the thing that really surprised them with the sequel was the improvement in the writing and the storytelling. So I think that's what I'm going to be most paying attention to see if that's true, and see if it is a lot better than the
I thought
first
that's
one.
what everybody liked about the first one, though. Wasn't that what everybody liked? Like,
well, first of all, Travis, as you know, whenever you're looking at the next iteration of something, the last one was ass, right? So you got to make those comparisons. As we all know, God of War 2018 was a spiraling circle plot to nowhere. Well, they fixed that in this one, so that's how you jump off on that. No, there are a couple of them. The Washington Post telling me it's better than The Witcher 3. I'm like, okay, bro.
But who wrote that though?
That's
Gene.
That's Gene.
Never mind. I'll leave.
Are you kidding me? All right, you want to do IGN instead? Well, when Francis Ford Coppola tried to match what he did with the first Godfather, many looked on, and then The Godfather 2 was born. Oh my freaking God, IGN.
Oh God.
That's
one of our UK
the...
reviewers. I'll just leave it there.
That's hyperbole on another level. That's for sure.
I would love to see. I'm going to come across as the cynic here, even though I'm generally an optimistic person, and that is that God of War 2018 I thought was a perfectly great 8, and that gets me no amount of crap online. It's like you're the dumbest ever, Rick. It's the best game of all time. It's like, I don't know. The kid was annoying after a while. The tonal inconsistencies abounded throughout the entirety of the plot, which was a series of fetch quests, like 7 in a row, where you never reach the quest fetch, and then you just roll credits. We don't want to talk about this. I don't want you love your game. You love your game. And then, yeah, a bunch of people talked about Ragnarok and particularly the side quests, right? I think if you actually go and break down the reviews, for the most part, they're talking about the stuff that isn't main plot line, which would also check out with my playing of the first game. So I don't know. I'm going to buy it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to have fun with it. I have no... I would be willing to bet I'm not going to come anywhere near a 94 meta.
Okay.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now.
Yeah.
It was the most realistic portrayal of an annoying kid I've ever seen in my life.
True.
So, I mean, if you can say, yeah, and I agree with you, he was super annoying. He's only going to get worse, Hogue. He's now a teenager. I mean,
in the trailers, I'm like,
better.
this isn't good.
In Ragnarok,
this person.
in Ragnarok,
I
he
wanna-
takes Kratos' Xbox Series X and brings it up to his bedroom and
Yes.
doesn't let you use it anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what's going to happen.
Wouldn't it be a PS5?
Yeah.
No, it'll be the Series X.
Oh right, yeah. It should be a PS5, but
That's what's going to happen.
See,
No,
Game
in order to
Positive is
make
like
him even more
self-fulfilling
annoying.
prophecy. I agree, Game Positive. I'm actually trying not to fall into that because I also have, this is going to be, I know you guys don't realize this about me. I got an anti-authoritarian, maybe a little contrarian spark in me. And so I see all those reviews come out and I'm like, sure, prove it
as
to
a
me.
lawyer.
Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe.
Well, to defend you for a second, Hogue, Eric, Mr. Game Positive, believes that God of War 2018 is the best single player game of all time. So
Hey,
That is wrong.
there-
That is
it's fine.
it is
I'm-
wrong. It's
Completely
definitively wrong. But there's different.
It is absolutely
different-
fine. Look, I am very hopeful that I have a ridiculously enjoyable time with Ragnarok. I didn't go completely dark on the reviews. Obviously, I read IGN's description of Moses coming down from the mount with copies of God of War Ragnarok, but everyone else is mostly talking about what we thought it would be. It's
Yes,
like
that's
it's
true.
that thing, but more. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about that because I wasn't taken with the characters in one. I'm not coming into Ragnarok being like, thank God we get to visit with Atreus again. Good God. And going forward, I hope it is awesome. Is it going to be Witcher? I would be amazed.
No.
I will come on this show and be like, I was wrong, gentlemen.
It was
It's
Witcher
the best
4.
thing ever.
Everything
It's
we
not
wanted.
even going to be Elden Ring. Come on. stop
So
it.
I'm sort of I'm in the same kind of camp as Hogue in that I understand his pain and not thinking that God of War 2018 was the second coming of Christ, but I think we look at it from different areas. To me, the story wasn't like amazing, but it wasn't the worst part of the game. To me, the thing that I really wanted them to improve was just the actual gameplay and the fact that you fight the same enemies over and over again. You fight the same bosses like 6 or 7 times. And to me, like the best part of that game was the first couple hours when you get to the part where you're fighting the dragon. And at that point, I was like, this game's fantastic, 10 out of 10. I'm so sold on this. And then the longer I played, the more it just sort of went down and down and down in my estimation, because you do a lot of kind of retreading and replaying. And it's just sort of like, all right, this game is so up its own ass already. If it's not going to give me new stuff to do all the time, then I'm kind of done. And so I ended with like, all right, well, that was a good game. It was a great game, but it didn't get to, you got to give them room to grow. And there's a lot of room to grow with God of War 2018. And I'm hoping that Ragnarok grows. I'm hoping that
Generally love
Ragnarok
sequels for that.
yeah,
Sequels are good at that.
if the boss fights are more varied, if enemy encounters, they put more enemy variety in there, all that stuff, I will be sated by and large. And if the story is good too, even better. Because I think, to me, God of War 2018, not the best story in the world, but it's a qualified success. I'll give it that. I'm interested to see more. I just think that it's, the first chapter and it's, fellowship. It's a lot of, you're meeting people and figuring out what the heck's going to happen.
Well,
So
it turned out it's the first half, right? It's a duology. So
apparently,
hopefully they bring it home.
Yeah. And then I'm hoping that too. I don't hate the game.
The stupid
me, it's an
stuff
8 out
in
of 10.
2018. No, I'm just remembering these things. Get freaking horn. You write finishes to your stories, people. Sorry. Okay, I'm done.
I didn't hear. Sorry, Dan. I was going to say I didn't hear the tail end of what Travis said. My headset disconnected, but Carry on.
Oh.
No, a lot of people enjoyed that story because maybe they were fathers and they had the son relationship. Now, granted, obviously these guys are not Spartan gods, but they
You don't know
tried.
that.
I know what Corey he talked about trying to bring in that kind of relationship. My question is, do you guys think that there's a kid out there that was playing God of War that was like, you know what, I really see my dad in Kratos, because or look at it from a different point of view, because I don't know why that just popped in my head.
I actually did. If you met
See,
my
I was
dad,
just
he's not
wondering,
too
yeah.
far off. Yeah.
Wow.
Where the deer are.
Actually,
Yeah.
the only difference between
Boy.
Kratos and my dad is my dad would have never been that attentive to actually teach me those things, but he has the personality and the disposition, definitely, and the physique.
My thinking on 2018 is it's just like they had like 4 characters. It circles around itself like a bad Netflix series, 14 episodes more than it needs to. I hope, Travis, the best thing you said just now is that like sequels are better in general. Assassin's Creed 2, you get the second bite of the apple. You cut out the crap. You focus on the good. I guess my biggest problem is like reflecting on that game from 4 years ago. It's like I don't like Atreus, and it's funny that even now in 2022, it's like we can't even use his real name because it's technically still a spoiler. I mean, it's like, well, okay, all right, it'll be good. I'm sure I will enjoy it. This comes across more negative because like you get those, and I always reflect on everybody gives it 10s. It's like, okay, I get more cautious about that than a nice solid set of 8s. I don't know why.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just
All right,
gonna say we talked about this in DMs too, but I'm not as like I thought of it more highly than I think the two of you did, but I'm in between, right? I'm not that person that thinks it was a 10 or a one of the greatest single player.
You give it a
games of all
9?
time, which I would give it a 9. Yeah, at the time anyway, in 2018. And I didn't review it for us; someone else did, and they did give it a 10. But neither here nor there. What was I going to say?
I've never agreed with Travis more than it was so up its own ass that when it starts repeating itself, I'm like, whatever game or whatever. I'm like, that is exactly how I felt.
But to me, it's like you have to get over that with some games. You're like, all right, I get it. It thinks it's going for high art, like whatever. But if it's at least a fun game, I'll be like, all right, that doesn't matter then. I can enjoy it. But I turn on things really quick when they're pretentious and also kind of like not earned. It kind of hurts me. So
I kind of agree with the concept.
Like, look at us.
I kind of agree with the concept that to Travis's point, like the gameplay is extremely kind of repetitive, and it's not even sandboxy enough to where the sandbox is repetitive, but you can make your own fun with it. Really, it's very kind of directed in limiting in that regard. It's impactful, and like I have fun with it. I'm not trying to put that aspect down, but I think there's definitely room for improvement. But your comment there, Hogue, around, or both of you really, around like it kind of gets up its own ass and then you kind of do the same thing for 10 hours or so. That's my problem with most of PlayStation's first party games. I felt the same way about Uncharted 4. I felt the same way about Ghost of Tsushima.
It's definitely the same with Uncharted 4.
Yeah, and I think Horizon is probably the same if I'm being objective. Though I see,
you mean Forbidden West?
I haven't played enough of Forbidden West because she drove me
nuts
too much.
I think they fixed it because I will agree with you on Zero Dawn.
That's what I was referring to.
Forbidden West is significantly better, and there's another example, Travis, of Zero Dawn is a middling kind of 7-8 for me, and Forbidden West I think is better. So maybe God of War is gonna be better.
I was higher on Zero Dawn at the time. I was gonna say
me too.
That
I think I gave Zero Dawn a 9. I reviewed that one.
Me as well. So did I.
Yeah.
And I gave it a 9 as well. And I think it's because it did enough different or new or fresh with the
to me that one was Hogue. I felt like it was totally new. Like it felt like the concept of fighting the dinosaurs and the mechanics with shooting the arrows to hit off the armor and all that stuff. I was just sort of like enamored with that, and I thought the story was up its own ass and really not good. In fact, that was the one thing in my review. I was just like, the story is.
And if I would have read
the story's in the final like 2 hours of the game.
And it has nothing to do with the main character. It's like, here's some other stuff that happened hundreds of years ago. It's like,
the entire story is the Pharaoh stuff. No, you're exactly right. So if I'm reading Travis's 9 out of 10 for Horizon, at that point, and I probably did, by the way, before I knew you at all. I'm getting to that paragraph and going, nope, because you are more enamored with the, oh, it's really cool to shoot the dinosaurs and the gameplay than I wind up being with these experiences. So it's like, yes, as soon as you said, it's a dime to me, it's like, oh, come on, let's talk about, and what do I focus on? It's not shooting down dinosaurs. It's like, I remember going to that first city and being like, this is the worst. Everybody says nothing. I have 50 people to talk to. All of these side quests suck.
Yeah.
I can see that point of view as
Forbidden
well.
West for sure. I actually think, I don't think really Forbidden West is that, or Ghost of Tsushima really are really like huge. The pretentiousness to me. Uncharted 4, yes. Last of Us, yes. God of War, yes. But
Just really anything with Neil.
I think some of their games aren't that bad. I like, you play them and you're like, okay, this feels a little bit less like, highfalutin.
I don't think any are bad. That's
none of them are bad games. None of them
I
are
mean, bad with the.
Well, I would defend Ghost of Tsushima
Gotcha.
from that because I think it's a very pared back game. It's definitely up its own ass in like the check out how much we love samurai cinema kind of sense, but it's not like this is important. I really don't think it does that thing, which is the kind of Neil signature, really everything you can ever expect from Naughty Dog. And so that's to me where that lives. And then that extended to Santa Monica, which was doing a kind of Naughty Dog approach with God of War's, re-envisioning. And so you do get that. And that's why I think Insomniac's my favorite of their brands, because you don't get that from them at all.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, to put a bow on this one, obviously we'll talk more about it next week when we have some time with the game, each of us. I'm looking forward to it. I actually, for me, it's a great week because the big Halo stuff comes out Tuesday, God of War comes out Wednesday, and I've taken Thursday and Friday off of work for a 4-day weekend. So I am going to be living in Halo and Ragnarok heaven next week, and I'll be excited next week to talk more about it.
That sounds nice.
It does. It does. It sounds really nice. This is not a joke. I went to my admin last week and I said, how many days off do I have left for the year? Like PTO, I call it planned time off. she said 22 days. I was like, oh, I guess I better use some. So I'm
no
carryover, huh?
Smoke them.
5. You get 5 days carryover.
Wow.
So
Travis works in California, don't forget. So it's a little
that's true. I'll forget. God, California,
I get 2 months off per year. I'm not complaining. I get 8 weeks.
Unlimited PTO.
Huh. You don't work. I know you're California. You don't
work.
It's
a trap.
On the next virtual legality, how unlimited PTO is actually no PTO.
Exactly, it is, which is why I like it. So.
Yeah, I was literally talking to a friend at a different company about that the other day. No joke.
Unlimited PTO is a trap.
It is a trap.
Yeah, I can talk about that in
another episode.
No. Yeah, we've covered enough.
It's
random
time
things.
for seasoned labor law with Travis Haynes and Hogue.
Let's give Rob for all these super chat here because it's more technical related.
I'm hopeful for God of War. I just want to be clear. I'm hopeful.
We all are.
All right, Rob, with a $10 super chat, can I poll the live panelists to which have an HDMI 2.1 TV, 120 hertz VRR? And for those who do not, what is holding you back, and what would convince you to upgrade your TV to a new HDMI 2.1 model?
Rob, are you super chatting us directly from the floor of a Best Buy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So here's my thing. I have a TV that does this, but I only have one port, so I have to pick which console gets it. That's I don't have 2 ports that support it.
So I upgraded. This is going to shock everyone. I'll preface this. I upgraded for Halo Infinite. So I upgraded to a new 77-inch G1 OLED. I have
did you say 77?
It's humongous.
Yeah. That's huge.
It's half the wall.
And I got.
Did you say yours is bigger, Travis?
Yeah. I have an
First of all, clip that, folks. Second of all, what kind of TV do you have?
85.
Is that a wall? Is that
right here?
What is?
I used to do a 100-inch projector years ago. So
beautiful. So that's perfect for LAN parties.
It's great.
Screen Halo, dude, legend.
But the TV is nothing compared to my receiver for my home audio. So I upgraded to the TV receiver that can do full 2.1 at 48 gigabyte a second with Dolby Atmos support and 3D audio and multi-room support and all that. So yeah, I have all of that, and going back now would be hard. Playing games, I only play Modern Warfare 2 and Halo at 120 FPS. Playing Apex even at 60, and Apex is one of the smoothest games on the market, is noticeably worse than playing Modern Warfare 2 and Halo at 120 FPS. And Dolby Atmos sound is awesome, not only for games, but for most like Netflix content. Modern shows are all in 3D audio now, and it's awesome. So highly recommend it.
I have rear speakers.
There you go. I also have a TV that does this stuff. I mean, my setup here is ridiculous. We'll do a cribs episode where we all show off our setups, I think.
I'm not
But
participating.
no, but
No.
I guess my thing is, yes, it's better. Do I think it's worth the money to upgrade if you're, you know, somebody who's not like playing competitive gaming and like super into it? No. Like honestly, like it's great, but it is not so noticeably improved that you're gonna feel good about spending like $5K on a TV that does it, or all of the upgrades you have to do. There's like little stuff that you have to upgrade along, you know, I feel like every time I upgrade one thing, I'm like, oh, well, that means I'm gonna have to upgrade this thing and change out this cable and like do the, it's just a lot
like
of
a house remodel.
yeah, it's like it just kind of creeps up.
It's substantial. Yeah.
Yeah, it creeps up on like all the stuff you have to do. So I do it because I have to for work. Like if I'm not playing the most beautiful version of the game on PC, then commenters come after me and go, oh, well, you didn't experience the real game because you were playing on a potato. And I'm like, all right, if you saw my setup, you know that's not true. But so I kind of have to do it. But do I recommend it to others? No, your setup is fine. You'll be okay. It's not that much better. It's not that much worse. So just be chill. That's what I would say.
VRR is very nice though.
Is magic. I was going to say that. Outside of the 120, I was going to contribute to the VRR is magic, and it is noticeable. I get upset when I realize which console has the VRR and which doesn't at any given time, because it's like, oh, they kind of both need it, and maybe that's the developers, but like the VRR really does help make things a lot better.
Yeah, and speaking of, God of War is another game like Plague Tale that supports VRR and has a 4K 40 FPS mode, like Plague Tale did.
I'll rotate the PlayStation back into the VRR port.
I'm gonna experiment with that this week, and kind of because it has like 4 modes. I want to see what they're all about. So anyway,
yeah, I bought the OLED, and then I took it back because this is just me and my old eyes. I couldn't see. It's too dark in most places. Like anytime you went into like a cave or something, I couldn't even see anything. Like
that's HDR.
Whatever it is.
Yeah, you can turn HDR off. I have it off on pretty much all of my TVs because it messes with like recording and stuff. Have you ever tried to record from HDR?
No, you're right.
I record so much of my gameplay. It's like I can't really.
I hate playing without HDR now because if it's properly configured, it's game-changing picture-wise. But recording with it is a
yeah. I record like 90% of my gameplay, so I just turn it off on everything. So.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up going back and taking it back and got one that was like half the price. It was like a Hisense. It's a Hisense U8 HD. I don't know what it was. It was one I did I did some research on it. Seemed like it was a really good one for gaming. It does, it's got 2.1 ports. It's got VRR 120 hertz. It goes. I mean, it's like it was half the price. It was like it was less than $1,000. And I was just like, this is crazy. And the only problem with it is it doesn't have very good like viewing angles, I guess. But I sit right in front of it, so it doesn't really matter.
You just tell the kids, it's like, well, this is my chair. Yeah, you can't see it. I don't care.
They got their own. They're good. So.
Now we're on season TVs, and Rob has a follow-up for us as well.
Yeah, follow-up. When you play, what mode will you try Ragnarok first? 30, 60, 40, or the unlocked averaging 85 hertz? Yeah, I'm going to pretty much stick to 60. I actually haven't played anything at the 120 hertz yet, mostly because number one, there haven't been a ton of them that I play, and then number two, I'm afraid that if I do, that I'll see that and be like, damn it, that looks way better, and it's going to be, I don't want to ruin myself for every other game. I mean, I can't imagine what Halo Infinite looks like at 120 hertz playing multiplayer. It's probably glorious.
So this is a true story. When I was in Seattle a couple weeks ago for Halo Worlds, where I was staying, the guy had a projector set up with a screen, and we hooked the Series S up to it to play Halo at night, and the input lag was so bad because you're playing at 60, but the input lag between your controller inputs and what the projector was showing was so bad it was unplayable. Like we literally couldn't play multiplayer because it was just compared to what we were used to. Of course, you do get spoiled with it. There's a reason the pro gamers literally sit on 240 FPS or 400 FPS monitors with like 0 input lag because it makes a difference for competitive play. I'm speaking about competitive play.
I think there's like 8 choices for Ragnarok, right? I recall looking at it thinking that mine would be the
4,
high. It's like the high performance quality, like middle ground with the VRR.
Yeah,
40 FPS.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's usually what I go with. Cause like that's what I do with Ratchet and Clank. I do the ray traced like middle ground VRR one.
Yeah,
They
whatever
added that
happened
to
to
Forbidden
whatever
West,
happened
too,
to
didn't it?
60 FPS
Yeah.
minimum.
I didn't say it was a minimum. I said it's better at 60. You keep trying to
Don't
straw man.
start.
Get out of here,
Don't
Travis.
start.
Always. Let's get
Don't
back into
start.
this.
You just heard from Ains talk about how double frame rate is a better experience. This isn't a hard
It is.
thing, Travis. You can
I know
die on
it's
whatever
not.
hell you want, man. I know you're going to
Hard for
later
you.
on in this episode.
It's hard for you, bro.
Stop it.
You
No.
need that 60.
Oh man,
Your eyes hurt.
I'm getting the gavel. There is, I'm curious to see what the unlocked mode is like, how stable it is. Because unlocked is great, but if it's not stable, it's I'm not going to enjoy it. So I'm going to try the 4K 40 FPS VRR one to see if that's smooth. If so, that could look really good, I'm sure. Because Plague Tale is stunning in that. So
I'm going to play it in 30 FPS.
Do what
See
you
what
feel.
happens.
That's why they offer
Do
it,
it.
so they can offer screenshots to people like
I am
you.
curious. I want to see because I God of War like 2018 was not a difficult game. I don't think you need like a whole bunch of frames to win, the combat or whatever. So if it doesn't need the frames, I'm curious to see how much better it is over even the 40 FPS mode because I feel like it probably isn't worth it, but we'll see.
That's
Yeah, we'll
generally my experience.
Yeah.
Is if you get because that you have the one that goes half, and I think it's probably using a more aggressive dynamic resolution because the way they describe these things is all like that. And then there's the one where it's the developers like, yes, also now the tree roots have shadows, but it does cost you 20 frames. It's like, well,
There's shadows.
yeah.
That
I don't
can be
even
a big
notice that
deal.
stuff.
well, you look at Cyberpunk, right? Let's take Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles right now. 60 frames per second, great, glorious. The ray tracing application is for like internal shadows. You have to give up half your frames for that. I swear to God, you could put screenshots in front of me. I can't tell you what is different.
No. And it's the same.
You mean
you see on
shadows being shadows indoors?
Yes, it's ray traced shadowing, not reflections. And so it's I don't know. It looks the same as baked or whatever. I'm not a tech guy on this. It looks the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like an AMD's presentation this week on the Radeon, the new Radeon stuff, the RDNA 3 stuff. They're like ray trace shadows coming to Halo Infinite multiplayer, and I'm like, why?
Yeah, the ray trace
Why?
shadows seem like the worst.
Don't care. Multiplayer, like, believe me, I'm not looking at the shadows when I'm playing a competitive match of multiplayer. That makes no sense. It's a waste of time. Last super chat from I'll get this one down real quick.
Sure.
Luke, our friend over at Xbox Expansion Pass, $2 super chat. Good to be back on Cast Co-op Ains. Absolutely. So our sideshow we do here at Season Gaming Cast Co-op with me, Luke, and Joe from the Trophy Room. We had our first episode this week after like 5 weeks. It's been a long time, so it was definitely a good time. Check that out. Thanks, sir.
Good.
All right, guys, the conversation I've been waiting for: PlayStation VR2. So let me run down the details. Let me get through them before we talk. So PlayStation came out this week. We got the blog post. Let me get through it.
I'm not saying anything.
Blog post about the launch of PlayStation VR2. So the details are: it is launching on February 22nd. Pre-orders will go live on PS Direct on November 15th. Just for clarity's sake, as I know we have an audience that listens from all over, and this was weird they called this out, but it is what it is. In the US, UK, France, Germany, Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, you can only order the PSVR 2 through PlayStation Direct. So if you're looking to get this and you haven't gone through Direct before, get an account, get set up, get ready to get logged in, because it's the only way you can get it. In other countries, they said it will be select retailers. They didn't announce them yet.
The
price is I've got comments on that as well to get to,
Yeah,
but
okay, no.
the price is obviously the big topic here, which is in the US it's going to be $549.99. There is a $599 bundle that comes with Horizon Call of the Mountain.
Wait, you don't
it
get a
is-
game with that $549? That doesn't seem really okay. Sorry.
See, I tried to tell you to let me get through this. See? So 599 euros, 529 pounds, and 749 in Canada. The interesting thing is the Canada price is equivalent currency wise to the US, but it's about $600 equivalency in euros and pounds. And then the only peripheral they're launching with is this charging station for the actual controllers called the Sense, and that's $50 if you want that. PlayStation is planning 2 million units for global launch in February. And that's pretty much all the blog said. They didn't announce any new games. They didn't announce any new details. They didn't even give you a video or presentation. It was literally a blog post giving these dates, prices, and pre-order on the 15th. That's what they told you. So there we are. So let's start with the obvious one, guys. $549 for the base model as it stands, $599 with Horizon. Go.
Well, I know what Hoag's opinion is, so I'll start with mine, which is
Sure.
obviously different. I think 549 is too high for the console market. I think it's very high. It's going to be a tough pill to swallow for people in that space. That said, the console gaming market is still what we'd call a core gamer, or was what Hoag always calls hardcore gamer. And every single chance he gets. And I think that market wants high-end experiences. That's why they don't play on mobile games and probably wouldn't play like a Quest 2 for a ton. And B is willing to pay if they can get experiences that they can't get anywhere else that are up to their standards. And so I don't think you do that with a $200 headset that competes with the Meta Quest. I think that falls flat. I think it kind of already did that with the PSVR1, where they were sort of shooting for that market and missed a little, which granted, that was their first attempt and the VR market was in a completely different place back then, yada, yada. But it's still an interesting use case, or a case study rather. I think that right now, if you want to get into high-end VR, your options are buy a $1,000 headset, buy a $2,000 to $3,000 PC, and then play games and hope that the third party supports you. I think that there is a market for a mid-tier priced headset that can do the stuff that you can do on the Valve Index and that sort of thing. And I think $549 is a great price for that market. Now, how big that market is, or if it exists, or if they can sell it, I think will really come down to software. And I think that Sony is betting on the fact that they can provide great first-party software that will make the adoption of this platform worth it and will get people into high-end VR, which we just got done talking about how, gaming is a spectrum and I want to push everybody over as far as they can into the hardcore. I think that this has an opportunity to do that if they provide the software. It's really just going to come down to, can they create killer apps that absolutely crush it and provide a reason to grab this? Because I don't think they're going to be successful with just third-party software, because the people who are the hardcore of the hardcore have already built their $3,000 PCs and got their headsets ready and all that stuff. So it's an interesting question. I'm not at all surprised at the price. I guessed $599 when we were on this show a couple months ago. Not at all surprised. But I think that their strategy is great and makes sense if they've got software. And if it doesn't, it's going to be terrible and it's going to fail. And so I think that there's an opportunity here, and I get why people's reactions are the way they are because it's the console market. But I think it's really just going to come down to software. So I'm interested to see what happens. I'll probably be picking it up just because, if you don't believe Sony can provide the hardware, then you can just simply wait for the hardware to be there, and the early adopters will probably pick it up and own it before there's anything good to do with it. So I'll probably pick it up as soon as I need to review something on it. And that's, I'm interested to see what they do.
Hogue, your face is killing me. So I'll add my commentary as well, because I know based on our DMs, Hogue has some different thoughts. I think than
Honestly, Travis's thoughts mirror mine. We have different assumptions as to success rate and viability, which we can talk about.
Okay, perfect.
But actually, Travis and I are in pretty close agreement, with the exception that this is a good strategy. So we'll talk about that.
So yeah, it's funny. So I am buying this. I am of the opinion that I kind of agree with Travis's point, or maybe both your points, that from a technology perspective, this shouldn't be that surprising. I am also of the opinion that I think I was talking to some others about this week, and I think that the age-old kind of adage of the console market, right? There used to be the belief a console couldn't be over $299 and it wouldn't sell, and we've all lived through those generations, right? And I believe, and we'll see, obviously, and the timing of the economics right now in the world is an interesting kind of thought process relating to this product launch too. But I think, generally speaking, I think that the console market is a different market now than it has been in generations past. And I think that, we just had two $500 consoles launch simultaneously 2 years ago. And I think if we go back to when we were younger, and obviously inflation aside, right, I think that would have been looked at as a death knell. And I think it's the opposite. The PlayStation 5 and Series X are selling faster for each respective company than any prior generation. So I think that there is a market that's bigger than I think maybe some people like myself even have assumed for higher end peripherals in the console space. And I am one of the people who has been asking for that. I said, give me a PS5 Pro and an Xbox Series XXX that are $800 and I would buy them. And give me, and I may be a small percentage of the market, of course, but I think that I can't simultaneously ask for a higher end VR unit that's console compatible, right, outside of PC, and then when they make it, complain about the price. I can't do that, right? So
you can. Yeah.
We
can talk about this, right? Because I think, Ains, this is your comment period, but I want to ask this question, which is like, I'm of a similar mindset. I'm with you and Travis on, actually, I wish this were higher specs. And that I could pay a little bit more for it, except that I also fundamentally understand that the ecosystem, the product that I'm buying, if it isn't supported, and if you can't get enough bodies in the door, then it doesn't make sense. Yes, you could sell me personally a $2,000 PlayStation 5. It'll be me and Travis and Ains, and nobody will make a game for the three of us.
Dan will be there. We got
Dan
four.
will buy it. Dan will buy it.
Dan won't.
No.
No, I think
Dan's son will take his credit card and buy it, and then Dan will borrow it.
That's what happened.
Shared custody.
I think we're all in agreement because fundamentally, as Travis pointed out, and I think we all agree, content is going to be king here and absolutely critical to this. And if not, and there's probably that chance where even if they get good content, it could still be in trouble, but that's a different conversation, right? But I think the biggest concern for me going into this as a day one adopter, and I think other people I've spoken to about this, to your point, Hogue, is this going to be another Vita? The Vita was
worse than the Vita.
Yeah, the Vita was a tremendous piece of tech. I adore the Vita. It was an amazing piece of tech for when it launched. It, Sony kind of threw everything at it for like a year, and then they just basically threw their hands up in the air and said, "Oh well."
Got bored. Get ready for that press. Get ready for that interview.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm concerned about here. So it's going to be an interesting thing to watch. I do think this will be supported better than the Vita. I do think that, and the reason I think that is because if you look at where their investments are, PlayStation through 2025, which is has been laid out by Jim Ryan, their 3-year plan, right? There's core detail into where that funding is going, and there's a lot of funding going into this space and mobile and PC space, basically non-console space. So I hope, my fingers are crossed, that we see PlayStation support this as they should for a substantial period, unlike the Vita. But I absolutely 100% get the concern. I have it myself that it may be a different story.
They straight up murdered it in the crib. They took the baby of VR.
I'm sorry, my headset disconnected yet again.
Put it in the crib. They straight up murdered it, is what Sony did here. And I respect you guys wanting the tech, and the comments that I get on my video, for instance, if you want to check it out at Hogue Law on YouTube, where I talk about them murdering this particular baby in the crib. And the comments that I get is, well, you shouldn't have expected any less for the tech. That's fine. Everybody tells me the tech looks awesome. That's great. I'm thrilled for it. Then the mistakes were made years ago when they designed the thing, because it's not going to be supported by this market. It is not going to be supported by this market. I don't know where the PlayStation VR ended, but it was in the tiny percentage of base PlayStation 4s that were out there in the market. This will do worse, in my opinion. And it will do worse because they have priced themselves out in the worst economy that any of us have ever seen. And they are going to support it like they do. Look like it's all big and all supportive for, I would actually say, you said a year, I would say like 2 years. And then there will be an interview with Mr. Ryan in 2025 or whatever. So, you know, we're proud of that team. We're proud of the tech we put out there. Turns out it just didn't have the market. People weren't interested in it like we thought they were, because they're idiots. Because they asked you to buy into a PlayStation VR with the PlayStation 4 ecosystem that they then didn't support crossing over the generational divide, which has hundreds of games that would have made this land much better for the PlayStation VR2. You say, well, the tech prevented them from doing that. Any engineering problem can be solved. They didn't want to invest in solving that. They wanted to go into a different direction. Instead, they put that onus on the developers to go figure out how to solve it and hopefully get a copy to you. Then they said, well, you could trust us, bro. We're not going to announce any games except this first-person Horizon game. We're sure it's going to be great. You're going to love it. It's going to be fantastic. We don't know anything else that we're going to make at all. We have no launch titles to announce for you when we're going to drop this price bombshell on you. And then here's some 11 titles you can look forward to sometime in 2023, which to a man are Oculus Quest 2 cast-offs. Get excited, PlayStation VR2 investors, because we're going to make sure that you're supported with these products. There is nothing to get excited about. And you say software support, which I tend to agree. I put that in my video. Yes, that's honestly going to be king, except it's already proven to not matter with the strategies that Sony has pursued. Astrobot VR is maybe the best VR game I've ever played. Yes, Travis, I know. I haven't played Alex. I'm very sorry about that. But Astrobot,
you should. So that's why that's my point, is that, if I can interject just for 1 second.
Yeah, of course.
My point is that there's a whole world of VR that's inaccessible. And it's inaccessible because there's no device that does what the PSVR2 does. It can't let you easily and for a somewhat reasonable price, at least comparatively, let you play games like Alex. And if they make experiences like Alex and they put it on the PSVR2, it will crush. It's just going to be, it'll blow it out.
Because you can't convey that. It won't. You need adoption. You see, Travis, this is the problem that you're having now, even with Alex, is that nobody knows what the hell you're talking about. VR needs to actually have helmets on people's heads, and there will not be market penetration with these idiots at Sony and what they just put out there. That is what's going to happen. They're going to kill VR for a decade, and I am resentful of these morons that are the stewards of our industry.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't have any comments on who's an idiot, but I will say that I guess my main thing is that they wanted to make a high-end VR headset. And they did it at a price that's probably for the best that anybody could have hoped for, right? Like they got us at a price that's less than $1,000, and you know, that's sort of the market standard right now. And I think that it's because they want to create experiences that could only be played on that sort of device, and that elevate. Making a Quest competitor, to me, is the worst thing they could have done. It's sort of just a Me Too. It's not a kind of like leading the way. It's gonna handicap what their developers can do, which is a huge problem in the VR industry right now, because everything has to be able to work on the Quest, because the Quest is the only thing that sold units, and so everybody makes their games. I think it has the potential to change if Sony leads the way. And so I think
this economy backwards, Travis, and I love you, man. But
I get the economy's bad. I'm sort of looking at it as that'll figure itself out.
I don't mean the macro economy. I mean the virtual reality economy. That the Quest is going to drive developers. And so what you're going to get is a series of cast-offs that don't use the PlayStation VR2 for whatever reason that you got. And so you wound up buying a Quest that's double the price with a box that you need that also.
Yes, so that is the Sony fail state. If Sony lets Quest continue to lead the way with games that work on them and then they port them over, 100% agree.
That's why I was saying first party is so important.
It's going to be a failure. I think Sony's bet, and my point is that if you believe in Sony, you probably think they can do this, and if you don't, then don't buy it and wait and see if they prove you wrong. I always say don't be an early adopter, because it's just, there's no point in putting your money on and betting before you have as many facts as you'd want. But I think what Sony's betting with this is that they can drive experiences that will make developers go, that's what we've wanted to do on VR. We can't, because the Quest is the market leader. And if you can give an alternative that has those specs, we are going to move to you, and we're going to develop all of our stuff on you. And the Quest is going to be destroyed, because
they're going to take it to their CFO, and they're going to be like, all right, thank you. How many out there are, how many PlayStation VR2 headsets are out there? How many Quest 2 headsets are out there? Get your ass working on the Quest. Get out of my office.
That is definitely a possibility. I think that what they're hoping is that their killer apps can drive a lot of people. And to your point, if Half-Life Alyx couldn't drive people to $1,000 headsets and $2,000 PCs, probably nothing can. But could Half-Life Alyx draw people to a $500 headset? I think it could have. I think it would have been way more popular of a game if it was at that consumer level, if it was on console, so you don't have to go and build your own PC. And if it didn't cost $1,000 for the headset, I think it would have been way, way, way more played. And so I'm just hoping that that's as close as we're going to get. That $500 headset is going to be enough. It'll be low enough for people to get to it.
Well, so Nick has a comment here I think is relevant. PSVR2 has an advantage for some, no Facebook involvement. So let's not forget in this conversation PlayStation's global brand power, because as
they were the last hope. I am this angry because they were the hope. Okay.
No, that's what I'm saying. So I was looking it up while you guys were talking. So I don't know if there's more updated sales data, but as of January 2020, so nearly 3 years ago now, PSVR1 had crossed 5 million units. Now, who know, we can define what that looks like. But again, PlayStation, right, if they get a percentage of that onto the scene and they're investing in first-party VR development, which we know they are. It's literally in their data. There's a possibility. I am with you, Hogue, from a kind of, this is going to sound hilarious. I'm with you from a logical perspective, which is units aren't there, too costly for development. There's another option over here that has 5 times, 10 times, whatever the unit count is. Why would we develop resources over here when we can do here? I mean, the simple math of game development seems to be true there. But I can see a pathway to Travis's kind of viewpoint, which is first-party development plus PlayStation's brand awareness, plus at the end of the day, it is a lowest priced option, especially if you already own a PS5, which we know 25 million people already do. There is a kind of additional, there's an algorithm here that can be pieced together potentially.
They think so. That's why they just did it.
Yeah, potentially.
I think that they do. And the reason I think that this is a better move than them making a Quest competitor, which I think, Hogue, you're kind of advocating for because you wanted a cheaper model.
I think they should have de-spec'd. I think they could have made something much stronger than the Quest at a Quest comparable price.
So the reason that I think that would have been a bad strategy is because I think that the games industry should be aspirational. And I think that your goal is to see what experiences the developers want to make. Now, as a platform holder, it's your responsibility to try to enable those things. And so I would be willing to bet Sony, PlayStation, they talk to the developers they have internally about what they want to do. They probably consulted with third party. And I guarantee you the number one complaint they heard, and I know this because every VR developers talked about it, is that the fact that Quest is leading the way limits the stuff they can create. And so Sony is trying to give them a pathway to create the stuff they want to create. And so I think that
make the market that doesn't exist. You have to respond to where the people live. I love you, developers. I want more powerful things. I want to be in a holographic Star Trek Enterprise room, right?
But you can't make the market.
People aren't buying into your product.
Okay, well, I disagree that you can't make a market that doesn't exist. I think that's how markets emerge, right? You create something and then
force it. Yes, you can. All right.
You create the market. That's what you do. You build something and the people will come, right? So like if you create an experience that is worth the cost of entry to get into PSVR2 and everybody's talking about it and it's something that everybody wants to be a part of.
I can't even tell you how many tech companies I know that have gone under with, we'll build it and they will come. That is,
of course, but think about how many
have hope.
Think about how many have succeeded with that. You have to take chances. This is the model of startups. That's why there's
you're going to blow up VR. You're pandering to developers that don't have any idea how to sell their games into the market. Is going to blow up the entirety of the market, at least for high end.
I think that it probably will not, because we already have a high-end VR market that exists, and it has higher barrier of entry.
High-end VR can exist at the current level it is currently at. These are the people that come into my comments like, oh, it's comparable to these other ridiculously priced things. Fantastic. If you want the 6 people that go to fancy San Francisco bars and get scoop bagels every day, you can have that as the market.
You're better than that, Hogue. You don't gotta. Come on. You're a lawyer who.
No, you guys are. Look, you're California, right? If you want the freaking Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay, California VR market, you can have it. It's going to support 6 people with a VR device. That's what it's going to support.
I think that is a. Well, I won't even touch on the kind of belittling of San Francisco.
I'm not belittling. You got research.
I mean, come on. You're a guy with an advanced degree who speaks exclusively in $20 words. So I don't think you have any kind of like horse to be on of I'm a folksy, I'm just the people's champion. So let's just put that aside. All right. And I think that they're the market of the perceived, it's these people with all these money. There are hobbyists out there. The Quest is a huge product. There's lots of people with PCs that are expensive. And I think that if you can meet somewhere in the middle, there's a market there. There's got to be. All right.
You say lots of people, and I'm giving you that it'll sell 2 million units. That's a lot of people. You can fill stadiums with the number of people that is. It's not going to make that market work or make developers make games for it. Sony will abandon it.
Time will tell, and I think
time
that there
will
is.
Tell. I'm looking forward to the take on
and look, Hogue, I think there's a good chance that Sony does abandon it. I think there's a good chance that Sony is unsuccessful with making software that brings it there. That doesn't mean that it's impossible. It doesn't mean that it's even unlikely. I think that if Sony put their effort there and created experiences, they could beat the Quest, because there's a desire there. There's a desire both from the developers. There's a desire from developers to make better experiences, and there's a desire from players to play better experiences. And I think that a couple $100 more to do that, if they can do it on PlayStation, could be successful, but it's all about software. And so I think that if
Sony abandon their library like 4 years after they started it,
I'm with you.
No trust.
I'm with you, Hogue. I'm with you.
I agree too.
I'm with you. I honestly think it's a coin toss. I really think they could get lucky and their software could crush it, and then they'll be like, oh, well, now we've sold 10 million units. Let's support it. I think there's also a 50% chance that doesn't happen. But I don't think that means that the takeaway from that is, oh, well, let's not try. Let's not be aspirational in our art or in the games industry. Let's just appeal to the lowest common denominator based on price and not enable developers to create the stuff they want.
Let's have something called a business strategy. It's amazing.
I get it, man, but there's a middle ground. If you don't try new things, sure, 10-1 tech companies fail, but the ones that succeed change the world. That's why we play at this game. That's why we're here, right?
You play that game to make money.
Sure, you make money on the 10th. That's on the one that
you do. Yes, I'm venture capital,
and you make a lot of money. But there's no progress without risk. And I think Sony's taking a risk. And if they back up their bet, if they back it up with software, I think they'll be successful. And I want to live in a games industry where we make those kinds of bets.
No, see, the thing about a risky proposition is that it is a risky one. We can evaluate those things right now and say this is stupid on its head.
Sure. I think that it's ambitious on its head. If Sony supports it, it could succeed. If they don't, then we'll just be looking at another failed Sony attempt. And that could happen, Hogue. I kind of think it happened with the PSVR1. But again, I don't want to write them off before I see the software. I haven't seen the software, which is a little disconcerting. But
you think there's a reason for that, Travis?
Yeah, totally. I get you. But look, we know they're developing games. We know developers want to make games for a higher end platform, but they don't make Alex-like experiences because they saw that very few people played Alex. I think that's clear. But there's a desire here, and Sony's taking the bet. And I, as the optimist, want to believe that they're going to back up that bet and do it. I think
you're undervaluing the risks of a bet this stupid. This is taking the house cards and going home when they fail.
I don't think there's any.
We already had Microsoft opt out of this, right? So Sony is going to get dinged on this, and they're going to end things. This is coming from a person that loves VR. I am one of the staunchest advocates for VR experiences and VR headsets. And what I saw literally was them making a complete misplay. on both the nature of the outstanding economy, which, you know, you could say it'll fix itself. Nah, but it's going to be a problem just in that term. And then actually looking at what they're offering and seeing a history of a company that's abandoned its products in this exact market, try to upsell you on the future with nothing. This wasn't a state of play. This wasn't a video presentation. This wasn't trailers. This was, here, we are going to demand 600 plus tax for you to play anything on this thing. Get excited.
So let me add a conspiracy theory to that comment, because I agree with you. I thought it was very weird to do this via blog post. Let me post something to you guys and get your thoughts. And we have a lot of thoughts in the chat real quick. So let me cover a couple things. There's a mix of comments in the chat about this could succeed if you know, basically there's mixed on both sides. Other people are saying, to your point, Hogue, that game development is going to dry up for this and it's going to fail, and it's not going to sell enough, what have you. Couple things. I believe that, here's my conspiracy theory, and tell me if I'm crazy, and that's fine because it's a conspiracy theory. They knew the price was going to be a problem. Mainstream, when I say that, right? They knew the price was going to be a problem. So you put the date and the price out in a blog post and let these discussions that we're having right now happen. You get that out of the way. We get a state of play in January that shows off PSVR2 properly and gets people hyped for launch. Months and holidays.
Oh yeah, no, this is
past you.
This is effectively a Friday surprise, right? I mean, like, this was exactly that mode of PR communications, which is you go out and you get the torrid affair with the secretary out of the way, and then you bring back the stuff that you're going to use on your platform. It's exactly that. You're right. Ames.
Okay.
Yeah. So I agree with that, and I think that the early reaction to they didn't show anything, and I have no reason to be excited about this, and it's all just ports. 100%. With you there. I'm looking at this from a, like, what do I think Sony's strategy is? And I think Sony would not be doing this if they didn't have a software strategy. If they did, then they're idiots. I'll be the first one to agree with you, Hogue, and be like, wow, why did they do this? They're dumb, and they could abandon it, that sort of thing. I'm not saying this is a sure thing at all. I'm just saying I support bets. I don't think any high risk bet that is that's goal is to drive the industry forward and enable better art or more ambitious art is ever bad. And I will be the first guy to be like, yeah, do it. Take that risk. Let's see what happens, because it's going to figure itself out, right? Like, Sony's probably going to be fine if the PSVR doesn't succeed. They were fine with the PSVR 1. I will say this. The one thing that still just kills me about the PSVR 2, and that I think is worse than the price decision by a lot, is backwards compatibility.
Yeah, the backwards.
I think that's just straight up a bad idea, and it makes me upset that that's a thing.
Yeah,
so
agree.
I'm on your side.
So here's where I want to take the conversation next.
Different conversation if they have that backwards compatibility, Travis.
I think so. I do.
Yeah, it definitely changes the conversation.
To me, that's a bit. To me, people are focusing on the wrong problem. The price, I'm like, fine. That's what I expected. The backwards compatibility thing, unforgivable.
No, that's a double bird. That's a straight up double bird to you guys. Thanks for the money. Peace out.
So let me comment on this, because this is the other big aspect that plays into that, I believe. And Gecko has a super chat here. I'm just going to take Dan real quick. Sure. So he says €6 again. Super chat for Gecko Gamer. The price only makes sense if it's PC compatible. And I think the reason I feel I've had some conversations about that this week, which I think is an interesting play. But I believe if you've been paying attention to where PlayStation is developing right now in this space, they are creating their own launcher, their own PC-based launcher for first-party PlayStation, because quite frankly, PlayStation likes to control their money. They don't like taking cuts. It's the reason, going back all the way to the beginning of this conversation, you have to go through direct, is because literally in their investment portfolio of what they're talking about in their fiscal results, they have a sharp plan to increase their direct revenue.
Well, and Ames, they have a history this year of really delivering on the things that you buy directly from them, collector's editions and whatnot, right?
You're not lying, man. They need... Yeah, I'll leave that one alone, but that's a good callback. Damn it. So I think to the long-term conversation, what I'm going to find is interesting is if they do not, I think their big picture is to get PlayStation more directed to PC. We already know that. Get their launcher out and then tie together this PSVR 2 platform to the degree like we're talking about here, where you tie it all together. Now, could they completely fail in that? It get delayed, have issues? Absolutely. If it comes together, it could be interesting to watch. But there's a lot of ifs in that plan, I would say.
Yeah.
They're even sillier than I think if they try to compete on a PC launcher side.
Yeah,
They're building it as we speak.
Yeah, I think the PC thing is purely so they can get access to those libraries, would be my guess, and give more kind of value to that high price. Because if you can plug it in and play like your existing library on PC, that sort of alleviates some of the backwards compat complaints, although you would have to buy them on a completely separate platform. But I think that being able to do more with the headset isn't a bad thing, but I think it should not be a major part of their strategy, in my opinion. I think there's other headsets you can buy that you can plug into a PC. In fact, Quest sells some of them. They'll let you use your entire not Quest, Meta sells some of them that let you use your entire library there. So I would just say
the Quest is PC
probably
compatible, Travis.
What's that?
The Quest is PC compatible.
That's what I'm saying. So like, I think that's a problem. It's not differentiating. It's not going to, if they can create a console where they've got a unique library of experiences and you can get there way cheaper than you can on the PC model. Plus you can plug your headset into a PC and play games you own there. Great. But if their strategy is to try to snake away the PC market from Quest,
well, they're not going to have a different. I mean, the one thing we do know is we can tell from the 11 games is that the Oculus ports are going to swamp whatever they release first party. I mean, there's going to be 600 Oculus ported games on the PlayStation VR2. So they're not going to have a differentiation point except for what they deliver personally.
Exactly.
So I mean, they're hoping it's Nintendo Switch and that it's not a Nintendo Wii U.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think the software probably matters more.
Yeah. Not the Nintendos. I mean, the Switch doesn't exist without Nintendo software.
The Wii U had some software. I mean, it was just a
Wii U has half the Switch's library. What are you talking about?
No, exactly. The Switch is just a sequence of Wii U games.
I actually think that the problem with that was the hardware, because it didn't do the thing we all assumed it would do, which was let you play on. We wanted the Switch when we got the Wii U.
Yeah,
but the thing about the PSVR. The PSVR 2, it does exactly the thing we want it to do. It is the high-end headset that does not cost.
It doesn't do the thing I want it to do.
We
haven't talked about the fact that
wireless.
It's wired to a freaking box.
I was waiting for you to bring that one up. I mean, I don't want to pay for a $2,000 headset, which is what you'd have to pay for it to not be wired and provide experiences that it's going for. Again, I think it's the strategy of they want high-end. They're not.
And you think it's the best of both worlds, and I think it's the worst of both. We'll see what the market says.
I don't think it's the best of both worlds. Wired is not best. I think
best in terms of price. The price and high-end optics.
Not best of both worlds. Yeah, it's a compromise. But
I think there are 3 worlds here, and it's best of 2. I don't know what you want.
It's high end, which I like. It's not, and it's wired, which I don't like. So it's really just I got half of what I wanted. But the fact that the price isn't at levels of what it would have to be a wireless high.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, you're talking about purely about processing power. I mean, it's using the PS5. So I mean, that's
exactly.
If you're unwired, you're going to get, I mean, I have a Quest 2. It's low end VR because it's encapsulated.
So if they were going to pick to go wireless but be low end like the Quest, I think that would have been a mistake, and I think that they went the right route given today's current technology. Do I wish it was wireless? Absolutely,
of course.
But honestly, the wire didn't bother me too much when I'm playing super high end stuff, because that experience is so immersive and crazy. You kind of forget about the wire pretty quickly. Biggest problem with VR, at least where I live in San Francisco, finding the space to play it. I mean, that's just, nobody where I live has like a open area to play VR. So I've had to engineer one in my house, but it's pretty rare here. I'm sure that's not a problem where you guys live, but something I was.
No, we don't have those small apartments out here, but we do have large spaces to walk around in.
Yeah, we go out into the cornfields of Kansas. Yeah, and
I hear you guys have like spare rooms. Every time I hear spare room, I'm like, what? A spare room? I couldn't imagine that. That's crazy.
You have spare rooms.
Yeah, multiple spare rooms.
I can't imagine that. It's brutal.
So we got a super chat from Tao in the house.
Yeah, Tao with the $5 super chat. As a non-VR user, I just don't think it will survive. I can buy, but I don't want to. I hope it does, and I might get it into a year or so later down the road. but Hogue wins. So
Bet.
He's
Hogue.
betting.
No,
better
that's
bet
fair.
Hogue wins.
And to be fair, I wouldn't bet on this because I think it's a 50-50 gamble. And I just, I'm not confident at all that they'll succeed. I admire that they're trying, and I hope it's a legitimate try. I hope it's not just, them putting this out.
That's where I'm at. It's like,
I
want to believe.
Yeah, I want to believe. I just think it's kind of a pessimistic take to be like, hey, this is all just them trying to grab money and they're never going to support it and blah, blah, blah. Like,
well, I don't think this is grabbing money. I think they're pot committed to years of engineering expense, and this is how it looks when a company does stupid things to follow R&D.
Again, so you could take that approach, or you could take, hey, they're investing and they're trying to make this work and they're trying to change the industry. And I think I prefer to live in that world mentally. I think we'll see either way. It'll be a Switch or it'll be a Vita. Like one of those things is going to happen. I'm hoping it'll be a Switch, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Vita. That's all I'm saying.
I'm thinking it's going to be a Vita Plus. It'll be better than the Vita, but it won't be. Certainly, we're not going to be a Switch.
I mean, you never know. If they have software, it'll be a Switch.
I'm looking for Travis to write the Why VR Failed article for IGN in 2026.
Hey, I'll be happy to write it because I'm not,
no, thank you.
Just naive about this. Like I know that there are risks and it could fail, and I'd be happy to write that article about why it did. I just think that it's too early to tell, and I want to believe that Sony has a plan and that it's going to work out. That's all.
Gecko says, more importantly, will it outlast a lettuce?
Yep.
Sure.
That ran for prime minister.
It's got to outlast Stadia, right? I mean,
it's gonna outlast Liz. That's and prime minister.
Stadia. What is Stadia moment to moment? 18 months.
I think so.
I think less than 2 years. Right around 2 years.
Sony's not going to announce like a fail state, but I wouldn't be surprised if you're getting some of those talks about why are people not buying the VR2 18 months out from launch?
Yeah, I think that could definitely happen if the software is not there and the timing of the software. Sony's been working on VR games for a while in the quiet. I'd like to believe they have a couple tricks up their sleeve. They're going to blow us away. But if they're all the Horizon, experience on VR, it's not going to work out. And I'm hopeful. I'm glad that they're taking the risk. It's better than not taking the risk and doing the safe thing and just putting out a Quest clone that you can play on your PlayStation. I don't like the lack of ambition there.
So I would comment on your Horizon take there. So and believe me, I'm not defending because we haven't truly seen it or played it or anything of that nature. But according to their own statements, this Horizon Call of Mountain game is not an experience. It's a fully fledged 8 to 10 hour single player game.
Yeah, I think the Polygon article I said they thought they were told 6 at the time, so we'll see.
I'm interested in that. The reason I said that it's an experience is because it sort of feels like it's hanging on the coattails of the bigger game they actually want to sell. It's not.
I agree.
And so that's the reason it kind of reminds me of like the Batman experience, where it's like, okay, you can be Batman. It's technically its own game. It's kind of a tech demo, right? But
that's what they've. When they came out and kind of clarified, they tried to go against that mentality that it's.
They certainly did with their $50 price between the two packages.
Yeah, I don't
think
that they've made a good argument for why this is going to be as big as it is. I understand it because I'm deep in the VR world and I know what they're doing, right? But like their PR, their push with this, explaining what the Horizon game is, explaining why this headset being $550 is a good thing. So far, it's been non-existent. To your point, Ains, I hope that they have another trick up their sleeve and we got a June, state of play that just like blows us all away. And I'm hoping that is true because I want to believe, but it's possible that it's just not that and that this goes over like a wet fart. If Hogue's way goes, I will not be surprised at all. If my way goes, I will be thrilled. And, then we'll all be sitting here talking about how happy we all are that they took the risk and did something crazy to push the industry forward. But no progress with that risk. That's all I'm saying. This is a startup guy talking.
So you can take educated. I'm a startup lawyer. I sit across from clients that are like, well, here's my stupid idea. And we got, let's break this down and make sure it can work better.
Yeah. But your job is to kind of, mitigate the risk. Right. And
my job is to help them
try to constrain those dreams a little bit within the realms of what's
my job is to help them succeed.
Correct.
If Sony sat down with me 3 years ago and said, this is our plan, I'd say, all right, I look forward to your next.
Yeah. Okay.
So
great.
So Dan, you've been quiet during this entire conversation. I want to get your thoughts on I want to get your thoughts on this from your perspective as you bought PSVR
Is not the market
first
for
one.
this.
No.
Yeah. I mean, the same time he bought it as me, we got the $200 bundle with the games and Moss, and a lot of people seemingly did with PSVR 1, which
Right.
kind of in and of itself said it had slow adoption right at the beginning. But what's your thought on the price? Are you buying one? Does the content matter above all, or are there other things holding you back?
So the main thing holding me back is that I'm a fat ass. I like to sit and play my video games. That was my biggest problem with VR, was actually having to be slightly mobile. I don't even buy discs because I don't like to get up and put them into consoles. So getting up and
Look
actually
at
having to
move.
wave my arms around, like I played most of my VR. If I couldn't play it sitting down, that was no go. So
This is the market, Travis.
yeah, I'm just telling you.
No, I don't disagree with you there.
No, there's and it's great. I think it's a cool, like, little. I still think it's kind of niche. To be honest with you, and
Yeah,
that's not trying to say it's
Games
bad
are
or
niche.
anything. Because the times I did play, I think, like you said, Astrobot was really, really fun. The
Astrobot
Blood
is
and Truth,
amazing.
I had a really good time with.
Blood and Truth,
Uh,
Moss was cool.
Moss was
Tetris
really cool.
Connected was awesome in VR, by the way.
Yeah,
Just
I
gonna
don't
throw
like
that out there.
Tetris. That's just me.
You guys heard of
Um,
Half-Life Alex? This game? Have I told you about it?
No.
I hope the rumors of it coming to PSVR 2 are true and not blowing smoke. That's
I
all.
Well, if
suspect
it's not,
it's
if it's
true.
not, and you can use your PSVR 2 as your headset on your PC, you could just play it anyway.
I don't
So,
think you can use PSVR 2 on PC. That was
Yeah,
Gecko's
they would have
point.
said
if you
They
That was
would've
the
said-
point.
yeah.
there'll be
Well,
a
because
there'll
you
be a
said they might build a
jailbreak.
launcher, right? So then you'd be able to
Well-
launch your games from that. That's what I'm saying.
But a
If-
launcher
if
would
it ends
be
up happening.
PlayStation first party in theory.
There'll be a jailbreak type thing like the PSVR.
Yeah,
one.
because the
That'll run
PSVR
all
you can
day
do
long.
that. You can use the Meta Quest to play Half-Life Alex if you connect it to your PC and do that.
That's
sort
officially
of stuff. So
supported.
if the PSVR 2 is on PC at all, you will be able to play Alex. It's just a matter of time.
Fair enough.
One way or another.
Yeah, I have a Quest 2 here, and my kids play tons of Steam VR games, like everything basically. Like it just doesn't run as nicely as it does maybe on a Vive or like the high end stuff that my other son has.
The
You know,
index.
I've seen this stuff. It's I am not getting it. I don't think it's not because it's $600. It's mostly because I just don't care enough to get it. I don't know if the software thing is a big issue as everybody else makes it out to be. I mean, how many third-party games do you play on your PlayStation 5, Ains? Probably not many. You play mostly on your Xbox Series X. A lot of people buy a PS5 or a Series X for the first-party games, right?
Yeah,
So you
but
can
there's
go
no
out-
other option in VR. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go buy a PC. I mean, that's your other option, right? He runs the Quest 2 off of this laptop that I have, right? And it works
Wait,
fine.
Quest 2 off of a laptop. He's connecting it, even though.
No
Interesting.
problems. He plays
Interesting
like,
strategy, because you
Yeah.
could play the Quest 2 without the laptop.
right. No.
so I'm
But
just
he
wondering
plays
what the-
like Blade and Sorcery or whatever that game is. I don't know if it's on the
okay,
Quest
so-
2. He's got
It's a
more.
good game, by the way.
Yeah, super fun. I love watching him play it. But it's one of those things where I think, yes, in the long term, the software is what's going to keep it going, right? Obviously, but I think a lot of people will buy these consoles or systems for one game. I bought a PS4 for MLB. That's all I really bought it for, and then like everything else was just like, oh, hey, look at this, because that was the game I've been missing for so long, and then I ended up getting Horizon and all this other stuff, and I was just like, oh, hey, all right, this is great, but it's kind of just extra for me. So I think people will buy it. I think the economy is garbage, but I also think people will find that money to do it. I think you guys said, I think the 2 million will sell out probably. So I don't know. I don't see it. It's not like the mass market. This isn't like just the console though either. So it's you have other options and a lot more variety. Obviously, it's very, very specific. But that's just coming from a guy that basically sits on his couch and eats pretzels a lot. So that's me.
That's who we need more opinions from. Honestly, it's a good survey. You're a perfect survey, Sam.
well, no, and I think to go further on that point, right? Like we always joke that we live in this tiny ecosystem, and our chat and us, right? We live in the Twitter sphere and the gaming community, and we know the ins and outs of what's going on a daily basis. If you go out right now and you ask a normal or normal, it's maybe not the right word, but your casual PlayStation player, right? You excited for PSVR2? They're gonna be like, what?
No idea.
I don't think they're gonna have any idea really what you're talking about. It's
No
just
clue.
there's nothing going on with it in that space,
Yeah.
at least seemingly from what I can tell. So how does Sony fix that between now and February? We'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No clue, man. If the backwards compatibility thing was a thing, I would have considered it. I probably would have.
Big miss. Big miss.
Humongous, because I have a ton of VR PS1 game or PSVR1 games, and that it doesn't make any sense to me. Now you're starting with, say, like maybe a dozen games at launch if you're lucky, and that's just assuming that that's what we get. It's fine. For somebody like me, it would only take that one game. Maybe it would take like a Half-Life Alyx. There's people that buy consoles just for Call of Duty or Madden or whatever it is. So, I mean, you could do it, just maybe not in this time, in this economy. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
At this time, in this economy?
In this economy.
Let me get these super chats real quick.
Yes, Mariano Pampa with the $10 super chat. When are we reaching Ready Player One VR? They have haptic. They have haptic stuff, don't they?
We won't get there if people just make Quest competitors.
Yes,
I'll say that. The only way you get to Ready Player One VR is if you take risks and are ambitious, even when the economy might convince you to not do that.
You had to turn the super chat into a supporting comment.
Quest competitor. You don't have to immolate your market to blow up your R&D budget to make things that nobody wants. Go be ambitious by growing the market that exists.
Yeah, I would say be ambitious and find the market that hasn't been.
Travis doesn't care about you, Sony. He doesn't.
I really don't, and nobody should. Nobody should care about.
Yes, you should. If you care about VR, you should not want the keystone major player in VR to die on a fire.
If they died, somebody else would come and fill them up. Companies don't matter. The companies are only useful to us if they are serving us by helping us create.
As long as you're an immortal leader of a Civilization 6 nation, then yes, that is true. Somebody will take up the reins. We might be dead 100 years before they do. You should care about whether or not there are idiots running the things that you care about.
If you have a stake in PlayStation being successful, you like them as a company, then yes, them taking risks is obviously going to affect you. I don't care about that. I care about the games industry as a whole. I don't care if Xbox or PlayStation's leading it. The creators aren't going anywhere. If PlayStation blew up tomorrow, those people would, create something new or go somewhere.
Except for this, they had the chance and they blew it.
Well, now they have the chance, and it remains to be seen if they've blown it. The product's not even out yet. Okay. We don't know if they blew it.
Right.
You guys you're repeating your previous comments, so I'm moving on. Thank you, Pampa. By the way, I did tell Pampa when we were in Seattle that I am ready for Ready Player One VR, like the movie, so that when I'm old, I can just lay around and go to different worlds. So I'm ready for that.
I do that now. Called Hitman and Breakpoint and all these old games that I play.
No. I want to, Ready Player One style. Come on. We
like the haptic suit and everything.
Dan's not going to stand up for that.
No, that's craziness. That's craziness. I'm more Wally. I'm more Wally than Project. Or
Dan wants a brain implant that makes him think he stood up.
Yes.
There you go.
And like food just appearing in my mouth. That would be perfect. Yeah.
Couch gaming.
Couch gaming with the $1.99 super chat. Are any of Sony's top studios making VR? I think a lot of them are, but maybe I'm wrong.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
So what we do know, Couch Gaming, is we know the investment, we know the financials around what they're investing in specific areas of development. They have not broken that down by studio. I did a video, you can find it on our channel, about where PlayStation is driving in the next few years, and that really dove into this presentation they did by Jim Ryan around their investments and whatnot. So you can glean some information there, but they have not specifically, and probably for good reason, because it's not likely happening. Your Naughty Dogs, your Insomniacs, those companies and their core developers are probably not working on PSVR2 right now. But you have to imagine that first party, they obviously do have working on VR. So again, it remains to be seen what level of talent, what level of output we see.
I expect Astrobot 2. That one. It's also chicken before the egg, right? Like,
I think a lot of people aren't working on this because this market doesn't exist yet, and so it's sort of they're creating something that I think a lot of creators want, but are they developing it for it now? No, because they have to develop for the Meta Quest. That's just what is dominating the market right now. So I think
No, we're talking about PlayStation first party. PlayStation.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm saying that. Yeah. Anyway, they can't.
No. I get it. But chicken before the egg is right but at the same time, I think the counter right is the only way you build that market is if you have the content. It's a vicious cycle.
They're developing for the. Hey, Hogue. I mean, there's a good chance that happens, but why would we assume that that's going to happen?
I'm a big fan of good decision making, Travis. I think we just disagree on that.
I think.
Oh man, you guys haven't.
I think you're a lawyer. That's what I think. I think you're a lawyer.
Couch gaming, yes.
You get paid to say no to people. That's
I think what it boils down to is that like Hogue really got hurt by New Coke at some point.
Yeah.
I mean, I was there too with you, man. I am right there with you. That was the worst.
New Coke.
The worst. So,
as soon as they took the cocaine
Travis isn't guilty of this. Travis isn't guilty of this, but there are strains of like the console fight. They're like, well, they're a big company. They analyze these things. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Nope. I do. That is not my argument. My argument is
Travis. I specifically said it's not your.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I to add on to that, like, I do not think companies make big decisions. That's kind of part of the fun, and like, I have no stake in their success or failure. If they go out of business, I carry on with my day.
You do have a stake in VR's success. You just said you're a big VR aficionado.
But a company's success is not VR success. The Quest still exists if PlayStation goes out of business tomorrow. So does the Valve Index. It's, if they all failed, I would be sad, but I think that they're not. The reason there's so many companies is because they know there's a market and people are creating for this. And you should not attach your hopes and dreams to a company. Companies only exist to delight you, and if they stop doing that and are being safe and just worried about the numbers, then you should hope that they die. That's what I have to say.
This is a straight up numbers play, Travis. They're trying to go get their money back.
I don't think that's true.
Vault Boy has the best comment of the day, by the way.
Anyway. No. I'm the hopeful optimist, and Hogue is the hopeful pessimist. As in, he's hoping that things go wrong.
I do not. I would be more than happy if the PlayStation VR2 took off. I would be thrilled. I just know it won't happen, and that's the sad part of this story.
All right, Miles in the house. Good to see you, brother. Here to spread the gospel of tales. We're not talking about mana on this show, darn it. But good to see you. Well, that was fun, guys. You did not let me down after our DMs this week.
No.
So
Amazing.
Anyone who's tuning into this afterwards, I would love to hear your thoughts on PSVR. Leave us a comment, leave us a thought. And while you're at it, I'll go ahead and hit that like button while you're here as well. I would appreciate that. One other thing to touch on this week, boys, and that is we got the date this week for the Last of Us TV show. So HBO Max is going to premiere that on January 15th. And they did confirm last night as well. It's weekly episodes. They are not dropping the series on day one. So it's going to be like
that's HBO. Else. Was there ever any other question?
There was no question.
Forget binging.
Yeah. So that's coming January 15th. I know we talked about this when we saw the trailer, whenever it was, a couple months ago. And I was talking to some people last night about this. I'm really hesitant on this show. Because
like 2 weeks ago?
Was it a couple weeks ago? Okay.
Maybe.
I don't remember. Or maybe the initial announcement. I don't remember.
It was the initial trailer.
Well, there was there were like shots. There was the tone poem, but like the first trailer was on Last of Us Day. It was in like the middle of October.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So let me just pose this question to you guys. What do you want to see out of the show? Would you prefer to see something that is standalone and unique in the kind of Last of Us universe, where they tell a unique story with Joel and Ellie? Forget about what we've seen. I'm just asking your personal preference. Or do you think, are you okay with them doing kind of a replay of the main story plots of the first game?
Oh, yeah. Joel and Ellie are not compelling characters on their own. It's the plot that drives Last of Us. So, I mean, I think they're doing the right thing there. I mean, they're ciphers. Yeah,
I agree with you.
To your 100%. Question, what do you want to see out of the show? I do not want to see this show.
I'm with Travis on that.
I knew that was coming.
I don't want to see it. Like it is, some video game creators parrot Hollywood, which I hate, and now it's Hollywood parroting a thing that parroted them. And
It
it's
is
like
from the acclaimed mind of video game director Neil Druckmann.
Yeah.
I have no idea what happened to the co-runner of Last of Us Naughty Dog. He did not get named in the trailer.
The acclaimed mind.
Yeah, so it's all the things I don't like. It's a video game pretending to be Hollywood, and then a Hollywood pretending to be game, and then also the fact that it's just a show that I don't care what they do with it. I do not plan on watching it. I could not care less about this series. I just don't care.
I honestly don't plan on watching it, but I don't think there's an option to do a fun side quest. I think you could do potentially completely different characters that are in maybe things that are mentioned in the Last of Us world, maybe. But Joel and Ellie is that plot. The point of Joel and Ellie is that plot.
That's true.
And so it's one of the reasons Last of Us Part 2 falls on its face so hard. Yeah, sorry, comments. It was that plot.
Man. Where are you at score-wise with Last of Us 2? I just have to hear the number.
Where am I at on the number? Last of Us Part 2?
Score-wise, Last of Us Part 2.
So I have trouble with the one number. This is why I Travis out with IGN, because I think it's one of the prettiest, most artistically compelling games that PlayStation 4's generation put out. I think it is the worst, most pretentious, up its own ass while delivering superficial messages only story in the history of video games. So 6.
Nice.
Yeah. It's okay.
I'd probably give it a 7, maybe an 8. I don't think it's like amazing. I kind of had a lot of the pretentious problems you had, but I thought at least the stealth was better than Last of Us 1.
A lot more gameplay elements.
Story was worse. Clearly,
gameplay was better.
Clearly.
Story is vastly worse than 1.
Very, very much worse than 1. Yeah. Also drags on too long.
It's so long.
It does. It does. Pacing's real.
It's very much God of War. That it's like, oh, good. Look, it's another thing on the horizon.
Well, God of War ended fairly reasonably. I felt like I was playing Last of Us 2 for like 40 hours. Like it was like long, dude. That game is just it goes on. So they have
their major pacing problem is they should have figured out how to sort out the character swap without making it feel like you were tutorializing and meeting a brand new crew. I would have put Abby and Ellie as a swap point. And I would have like Resident Evil 2'd it and then given you the opportunity to get to a credit sequence of some kind with each. And then once they're both done, have a finishing point.
I would have not made a sequel.
I would not have made a sequel. Certainly not with that idea. The biggest problem with Last of Us Part 2 is they think that revenge sometimes isn't fulfilling. It's like just this awesome, my God, Neil was on the toilet one day and he's like, damn, epiphany, bitch.
But don't worry because Last of Us 3 is in development.
Wait, really? Part 3?
Well, not technically, not officially.
Is this a real thing or is this a leak?
I could have sworn that was announced. Am I losing my mind right now?
You need to work on something else, please.
No, I believe Factions is announced. Factions is going to have a narrative just like as in-depth as Last of Us, I believe. But that's
Naughty Dog. You are one of the most talented developers in the industry. Please work on something new.
So many wasted artistic brilliance.
Work on the PSVR2. Make a game for it.
Don't let Neil slow down your themes for your adventure action game. Don't let him.
Too late.
Sad Uncharted theme is just the saddest thing ever.
Hogue and I are on this train together. That was their one like jubilant kind of Crash Bandicoot-y thread they had left in their library, and they made it sad.
I will never get over the freaking the credits of Uncharted 4 started with dun 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 dun. It's like Jesus Christ.
Why is it so sad?
Yeah,
it's just the Indiana Jones. When did Indiana Jones become all sad? Yeah, I'm with you there.
Yeah, man. You guys, the way you talk about Neil is the way I talk about like Christopher Nolan, like just so far.
I don't dislike Neil Druckmann.
He might be a great person. I have no idea. I think he works out his therapy for his video games. It's not great for me.
Also, Christopher Nolan's awesome. How dare you?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, how dare you?
He's also pretentious though.
Also pretentious. More successful than Neil.
Yeah.
Also true. Also true. Well,
maybe he's changing the game. Let me ask you guys this real quick. Do you guys think that the 8-episode, 10-episode series or whatever will encompass the entire first game?
And
they're going to do season
the DLC.
2?
We've already seen the shot of the carousel.
Yeah, that's part of it too. So you think it'll be the whole thing? You think they can
that's
fit it
question.
into that 8 hours?
I hadn't considered that.
My initial thought was yes, but now that I'm thinking about it,
it's pretty damn long.
No. I'm gonna say no. 8 hours seems like a little.
I think
little-
they end
definitely get
season
through-
1 on one of those cliffhangers like winter or one
They
of the.
definitely get through
Right.
Colorado. You see the end sequence of Colorado in the trailer.
Actually, that's true. You do.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah.
they're going. It's the whole way. It ends with.
Really?
It ends with
you're
the
right. Yeah, no, I think you're
Mhm.
right. Yeah, probably is the whole thing.
It ends with the.
So
So
line.
get ready for
The
Last
most
of Us
condensed
Season
version
2
ever.
torture porn.
Oh.
The truth is, so much of that is stealth. Like if you break down Last of Us into plot points, I think you can fit it in a season.
Yeah, you might be able to.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Because they're not.
Sure.
It's not going to be like. And now the episode where Joel and Ellie creep around a Pittsburgh department store. You're going to go straight to the next character interaction.
Good point.
Well,
Well, we'll see. We
missed
shall see.
opportunity. That department store creeping.
That should be its own game.
Was it a Woolworth by chance?
I'm with you though, Travis. I think it has to be the plot, and it's going to be the same. It's going to be feel samey or worse. And what's the point?
We have
You
been just
talking.
ruined by video game,
What's the point when
crossover,
industries
you know,
play
it's-
it safe and
it's
refuse
terrible,
to
man.
evolve and take risks? What's the point?
Oh.
Indeed?
Damn it.
terrible.
HBO? HBO? I don't
Their
I
model?
don't understand.
Their
They
model, yeah.
film they put things on film or digital and they make you feel like it's moving in front of you and they tell stories that way.
Hey, maybe we get a Last of Us VR game for PSVR2.
Let's do it.
I mean,
Great.
they sold part 1 to us. I don't know what
No, it'll be called The Last of You because you're.
Yeah. But you're actually just a golf club the entire time. That's what,
perfect.
that's the game.
And we're back around to PGA.
It's more of an
Let's do it,
experience.
guys. We're
Back
back,
to
PGA.
PGA. All right, guys. Well, this has been the Seasoned Everything podcast, episode 226.
That was
Had a great
strange,
time
man.
today.
Yeah.
That was fun.
stuff.
That was fun
Yeah.
today. Other Zink, he said Woolworth. The audience doesn't know Woolworth. I know that was an old man throwback, but I appreciate you recognizing it. Coming this week, at least on Season Gaming side, like I said, we've got the big Halo updates this week. I'm going to be doing some content for that. Go figure. We've got Ragnarok coming, so we'll talk about all that stuff next week. We may have a Season Gaming community game night next Saturday, so if you're interested in playing some wild, kind of goofy Halo games, not competitive, for fun, stay tuned to my Twitter. I'll announce that. I do have a video up right now for patrons, but it'll go live for everyone this week on Xbox. And some of the comments around the data we saw with Game Pass and their fiscal results, and some of the comments from Phil Spencer this week as well, kind of mapping that out. So I talked about that a little bit. And then what else? What to expect from Warzone 2, Modern Warfare Warzone 2 as well. So stay tuned for all that stuff. Start with you this week, Hogue. What you got going on? What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing more videos on my channel. You know what I do by now. Business and law, video games, technology, more. Maybe we'll cover PSVR2 some more. And then hangouts and headlines in the mornings where we talk about a whole breadth of things. And we're going to have some good headlines, I'm sure. We talked about a lot of stuff last week that was really interesting. The education system in the U.S., the opioid crisis. We got lots of fun things that we're doing on the channel. So if you're interested in anything, come visit us and see if you like what we do.
There you go. Travis.
Sonic Frontiers tomorrow. Wolong preview, probably tomorrow, maybe Tuesday. And I'm doing some other stuff I can't talk about, getting on a plane to go look at a game soon. So
Cool.
you can just check me out on Twitter at TyGuyTravis. And
I always
follow
check
me,
you out, baby.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, you too, baby.
Can I expect at least one awesome dad pun in the Sonic Frontiers review? Because that's my favorite bit of what you put in your review.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
do I have a good one for you? Ooh, yeah, I gotta go.
Something to get excited about, people.
Get excited about those puns, and follow Hogue as well.
Are you
Travis
flying-
loves punnage.
Are you flying to Canada by any chance?
I'm not flying to Canada.
Okay.
Thank God.
right.
I'm flying.
Can't stand
I
those
know.
mountains. He's going straight to Coruscant.
Idos, Montreal, maybe.
Yeah.
Gonna go hang out up there. The French Canadians.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you
Yeah.
guys. The woods are not for me. I am at 2 with nature. That's really all I can say.
I get you.
Okay.
Could you please rate nature in an IGN review format?
Oh, I would love to.
Tell that
Nature.
I
article.
would love to. I would love to write just a crushing review. of
Paragraph
nature,
4,
the
the
outdoors.
smell.
Yeah.
He's like, you're better off playing Postal 4.
Yeah, I've already got a title. It's For the Birds. That's what I'll call my review.
I thought that was your Elon Musk novel. No? All right.
Oh my God, guys, it's been fun. Chat, you've been awesome today. Thank you so much. Anyone listening later, of course, thank you so much for tuning into the Bitcast here. Always appreciate your support. And of course, we'll be back next Sunday with more antics and seasoned musings is what we're going to turn this show into at this rate. I kind of like that, actually.
Seasoned experience.
The seasoned experience. So have a good week, everyone. Enjoy your gaming. Enjoy God of War. Enjoy Halo. Enjoy anything that you love and play. And we will see you next week. Peace.